Okay, let's see if we got this rolling the right way or not, folks. Just testing everything, making sure we're good to go. We are not. Oh, something isn't working. That's not good. Okay, there we go. Looks like everything's up. All right, we got that happening. Let me see if we're live on. Yeah, we're good everywhere. So this is good. This is good. You never really know when you try to hop on, trying new things. What's up, everybody? We are just having kind of a chill evening. Figured I got about hour and a half. Nah, what is that? About 2.5 hours left of birthday. So I figured I'd hop on and just see what everybody's up to. See how it's going. Got a lot of good food in me earlier. It's all good. Do 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 do. But how is everybody else doing? We'll see how many people show up this evening. It is a work night. It's a little bit different time frame than we've normally been streaming. We normally streaming like it's been like mid-afternoon lately, but I know we have a lot of people all over, so I figured I'd get on, chill, but give y'all a chance to show off some of your decks because we haven't done that in a minute. So I'm gonna get something and keep some notes on here so we can keep track of who's next or whatever. But we're not going to be on for a long time. So we're probably, whatever decks we feature, we're probably only going to play like 2-3 games with each one. Then we'll move on to the next person, that sort of thing. Don't want to make it too crazy because, like I said, we're not going to be on for a long time. But yeah, I just want to get on, just see what everybody's up to because I've been playing a lot of decks. I scheduled a bunch of stuff in advance. So all the decks y'all been seeing on the channel, we put those up like 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Like, I ended up recording a bunch. I think I said it in one of the videos that I was recording a whole bunch at one time, but it was mostly so I could take a couple days off for birthday stuff, go hang out. I'm thinking about making a video on the second channel showing where I was tide pooling because that was crazy, something I hadn't done before, but it was kind of fun. So first time I went out and did that. Lots of cool stuff there. Some fun places we ate. Got to do a little bit of hiking. Trying to think what else we did over the last couple of days. It was kind of a busy 3 days. But yeah, man, it's fun. But anyway, we do have a lot of decks, so we can goof around and just play some Magic while we wait on people to show up. Oh, it just says, here's an idea. Pauper deck in standard that would be a brutal birthday. I don't know if that really is. What would be brutal about that? I just realized I need to get my chat correct so I can see the new stream all set up properly. So I can see all the conversations. We got people on multiple platforms hopping in here. Let's here we go. Let's open this one. There we go. Now we should be able to see everything with no problem. But yeah, I have a other monitor set up over to the side here so I can see everybody a little bit easier. 12:30 in Indiana. Yeah, that's the thing because I'm on the West Coast. So Indiana, y'all are on East Coast time? I didn't realize. I thought Indiana might actually be on Central time. I forgot. But yeah, morning. Yeah, depending on where you're at, it could be morning. It's definitely evening for me. The sun actually just went down. No, actually, not even. Oops, not even completely down. Actually, as funny as that is, when you're like at this time of year in the Northwest, the sun actually doesn't set until sometime between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. It's actually pretty cool. So you can just have like all day to do whatever you want, which is why there's so many outdoorsy things up in this area, which is kind of fun. But yeah, if anybody has decks that they want to feature, just holler. Otherwise, we're just going to be chilling. We're just going to be goofing around a little bit. Sometimes the problem with proper deck is that commons usually do the same thing, but at a higher mana value in today's aggro. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's brutal. It just means the deck's not good. I mean, because here's the thing, right? We already know the best popper decks, really. or budget decks, if you want to call them that, are like mono black and mono red, right? Like we've seen various versions of those. And then there's the white decks that are like the life gain decks. And those are mostly commons and uncommons, like a handful of rares in those. So like, and those are doable if you want to, but there's not a ton. I don't think you could do like a mono green budget, probably isn't worth it. I guess the blue decks do have some budget options as well, because they're like the tempo-y, milieu, whatever type decks. So like those exist, and I run into those every once in a while. But yeah, I guess green's the only one that doesn't really have a budgety version right now. Because I was thinking like you could, but I mean, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Play like giant growths and overprotects to try to get a little extra value or something? That's probably it. I don't even really think you could do anything really solid with it. Like, is there a world where we could build that? I don't think so. Like, because obviously you'd play Land of War Elves, right? And then whatever the little guy is, like, when it attacks, you give target creature a bonus. Whatever that little guy is. I don't even remember what that thing's called. Though, this guy's a rare. Yeah, I can't remember. Something might. Right? Yeah, this guy. Him with some big. Oh, he's an uncommon. But yeah, I was thinking something like that, maybe. Giant growth. Maybe. Oh, I didn't realize they made a giant growth with this artwork. That's kind of cool. I would play that one. And then I guess one of the ones that like hexproof, indestructible, because you need to be able to save your budget creatures. What are our options? So we either get overprotect. You know what? I might overprotect if given a choice, honestly. And then I don't even know what other budget stuff, like, let me put in like commons and uncommons and just put in creatures and see what we find. Cenote Scout is fine, but not great. I mean, I guess we go with Dragon Sniper. I don't like it, but if you're on a budget, maybe. Like that might be your guy. If there was some other thing, I mean, obviously, like Shazra's Chocobo, but I don't think we're doing enough to take advantage of it. I wish there was something else. I mean, I guess technically this is uncommon, right? Like, this would be fine. It's something. You could at least use it to pump the Simic Might and then attack or whatever. There's some value there. There's mana creatures. There's some random 2/2s for 2. Whenever this creature enters, another target creature you control gains that touch. I mean, it's not good, but maybe. This one has Offspring. I mean, that's the thing. We're in a budget, man. You got to look for some weird connection. Oh, yeah, this guy's uncommon. Yeah, you qualify for sure. You could be on the budget pile. I don't have a problem with that. This guy is when you play a land, you gain. I mean, it's a 2/3. I mean, I'll at least consider it. Are there any like earthbending things that are common, uncommon that are worth playing? Oh, Nessie and Hornbeetle. Yeah, you're going to be way too slow. Yeah, I'm just at this point, I'm just like, what things are in that range of just like 3/3s for 2 or something that aren't rare? Just like something of value. There's like Tigra that tramples. There's Tough Cookie that could get you a little extra value. Wow, so many 2-mana things that just don't do anything. Ant-Man's Army. No, it's 3 mana. Yeah, some of these are so bad. I mean, if you needed to remove stuff from graveyards, I guess there's Ambush Wolf. I mean, if you're on a budget, it's something. I don't think I'd end up playing it. Oh, wait, nope, I clicked the wrong thing. Where did we go? You need to go back to Ambush Wolf. I don't think it's going to make the cut, but you never know. It's weird. We don't even have, like, quality 3-mana 3/3s. When it enters, put 2 counters on it if it wasn't cast, or no mana was spent to cast it. This creature enters with 2. Oh, I get it. So if you plot it, like, you get to put the counters on it. Yeah, there's just a lot of bad creatures. What does ML do? Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have trample. I don't know how many we would have with counters, so that wouldn't be great. Hercules, occasionally you would get to pump it up, put some counters on it. The abilities only last one to turn, though. Yeah, there's just not, like, quality options is the issue, even if we could pull it off. A lot of the creatures you would have to play are just bad. I mean, Summon Fenrir is at least legit as an uncommon. That's reasonable. There's Thrashing Bronodon. Old school. Remove some artifacts and enchantments. Toph. Nah. Like, what else is there? Foggy Swamp. Vine Bender. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. I mean, that's something, but I don't think it's really what we're looking for. Dwynen isn't bad if we were playing more elves. The problem is, if you play elves, the good elves you want are actually rare. All the elf lords and stuff, so that doesn't really help us, which is super disappointing. Is there no, like, 4 mana? I mean, the 4 mana 4/4s, I mean, they at least have reach and trample, like She-Hulk, but other than that, like, it's just, like, good stats, but the ability is kind of trash. I mean, it destroys an artifact and enchantment, but we have other cards that can do that easier. The Boulder. I forgot about this card. When it attacks, Earthbend X wrecks the number of creatures you control power 4 or greater. Probably would just be 1 or 2. But Earthbend X, you probably just going to be putting like 1 or 2 counters on a land, so it's not great. Yeah, there's just not a lot of good options. When you play ants from your library, when it enters, create. I mean, 5 mana to get 2 creatures. That's something. Yeah, I don't know if green has any good budget options. I think you have to play some reasonable number of rares to take advantage of it. Though, I guess if we went, I don't know, even the earthbending, though, there's not a lot. And the good earthbending cards are rare that you'd want to play, so that doesn't really work. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. If there was some +1/+1 counter option, this guy's actually not bad. Bloodwood Scourge does a few things. Happy birthday! Thank you for sharing your love of Magic with us. You are very welcome. I'm just glad y'all enjoy it, because I put up so many pieces of content and so many decks that, you know, not all of them are going to hit, and they're going to be different flavors for different folks, so I'm just glad y'all are appreciative. Yeah, I don't think we could do a budget mono green. I think I'm gonna call it on that one. Like, though, maybe some red green? That's probably a different conversation. Because, like, Ruby's uncommon. You do get all the burn spells that are common. So, like, there's probably something there. But yeah, this isn't one. I think I'm just going to send this to the trash can. We are not even going to bother finishing this one. But, you know, you got to go through the exercise to even know if it's worth doing sometimes. Like, that's kind of the trick to everything, right? Because I think people have this idea that we just sit down and, like, build decks and then they just work. And a lot of times you're seeing, like, the 3rd, 4th, 5th version of the deck before we even decide to make the video, right? Every once in a while, there's something we just find that I'm like, oh, hey, this did well in the tournament. Let's just play it. We know the deck's already solid. Let's see if it holds up in best of 1, right? Like, those, somebody else has already done the work. But there's a lot where we're just like, we just go for it. Like the seasons of the Scarlet Witch deck, I was just like, cool, goofed around with it for about an hour, hour and a half, made some final touches to it, and like, okay, let's go see how many games we can win with this thing, with the final version. And it was a lot of fun. That one was super sweet. We have a Codis deck coming out, I think, in like 2 days. What's tomorrow's deck? I don't even remember. I gotta check. I totally forgot. Oh, yeah, there's a Bullseye Boros Tokens deck tomorrow. Forgot about that. That's what happens when you schedule stuff so far out. You kind of forget. But yeah, that's coming. So we'll be doing that next. play something. Everything I'm playing is off meta for the most part. I played like raccoons today. I played the crazy. The video we made was the simic. What you call it? That's now becoming meta. The one with the Kang in it. And then before that, we played the Storm deck. And then before that, we played the Scarlet Witch deck. Like, how off meta do you want? What was the last true meta? Maybe the that's now become meta. The Balloon Man deck was probably the most meta thing I've played. Oh, that's not true. And then like 2 or 3 videos before that, I played the green white aggro deck. Other than that, I don't think anything else we played's been meta. We had the big creature deck, right? Or the reanimator big creature pile. We had the Galactus deck. Oh no, we didn't do that one yet. That one I made the video. The deck wasn't great. It was kind of fun though, so I was just debating if I was still going to post that video. We did the Jane Foster equipment deck. And we had the Aliens Invasion deck. We had the Merfolk deck. The mono black Ugin deck with Ugin and Doctor Doom. The big red deck. Like, yeah, none of those are really meta decks. I think I've played so far this season 2 or 3 truly what you would call like meta decks. Everything else has been something completely different so far. We've been all over the place. Oh, yeah. So here's another thing. I've been experimenting with putting decks up in the morning instead of at midnight my time. How for those of you that used to get those decks like I guess at 3, 4 in the morning when you go to work on the East Coast, how different is it for you having the decks post up 9 a.m. Pacific time as opposed to midnight Pacific time? Because it's just an experiment I'm trying for the time being. I'm sort of curious if it matters for people or not. Because I know some people say they like really like having it right first thing when they wake up, or if they're on the West Coast, they get to watch it because they're up late. But I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to let a couple more videos post at 9 a.m. just to compare the numbers and see how people are interacting with it. But I'm kind of curious. I don't know. Everybody uses YouTube differently. Everybody has a different way that you interact with stuff, you know? But yeah, I think even now I was looking at maybe doing a Delirium deck, maybe doing an Angels deck. But yeah, Rachel, let me more specifically, what would you consider off meta? I think because we might just have just different definitions. And I think that's an important thing. Like to further the discussion, right? We kind of have to know what we're classifying as meta or not meta decks. Right? Are we just talking about decks that aren't like the 10 most popular decks? Are we talking about decks that are just janky bad decks just using weird cards? Are we talking about, I don't know. Like we can classify that a bunch of different ways. So I'm kind of curious what you're calling off meta. And then we can talk about like maybe building one of those. Also, speaking of, if anybody has a deck they want to feature, let me know. We'll get you in here. We'll show your deck off. The only thing I tell people though is it definitely needs to be like something different. If you're like, hey, here's my deck, and it's just like some, I don't know, is it prowess deck? I'm not even gonna play it. I'm gonna look at it, delete it, say, hey, good deck, and then we're gonna move on. Let's see. Mint to Live says the deck I'm looking to build in paper for FNM is the Simic deck I saw on another channel. Loki, Paw Patch Recruits, Hemosymbic. Yeah, I was working on something like that. I think I might still have it. Is it in here? I had like a blue-black deck I was goofing around with. Did I change? Yeah, I ended up changing cards. I haven't got to test this version of it yet. But something like this, where you're playing like Tiny Bones and Loki to trigger so you can draw cards. Deep Cavern Bats, Momentum Breaker. You know, just all the typical stuff, but every time you target your opponent's stuff, you get to draw a card, which is kind of cool. But I could see a world, like, I think the problem when I was looking and doing it in blue-green was how important really is Loki at that point, right? Because while you can get cards, could you just be winning if you were more aggressive? You know what I mean? Because simic might is just like, hey, let's just pump this up and attack. Like if Loki was the guy that you could play 2 to plot it and give a creature +3/+2 and trample, like, do you just win faster if it's that instead of Loki? You know what I mean? That was kind of my issue, because my first thought was blue-green, because I was like, oh, green has a few things that just like target stuff, and like the talents in green target, and you know, like that's a thing. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But then it's just like, but I'm playing Loki and non-aggressive cards just to draw cards to not really finish my opponent, even though I'm playing cards like simic might that are aggressive cards. You know what I mean? So it might still be good. I don't really know. Like, might be true. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing, though. I think so many players get caught up on, like, I gotta draw cards. But the reality is, like, look at all the decks that just win and don't draw cards, right? When you're talking about mono green landfall, they just get their creatures, get their land, and win. They don't care about drawing cards, right? The mono red aggro piles, technically, I guess, draw cards because they have some stuff that can, like, the mouse that can let you see an extra card or whatever. But mostly they're just beating you down with the slick shot or whatever, right? You know, mono white life gain technically has what's her name, the 3/3 that you could draw, but realistically, they're just trying to make a couple of big bodies and beat you down. Like, I don't know. I like, yeah, even just regular mono green, right? You're just playing the fast creatures and coming over the top. Or a lot of the Boros tokens decks are just making tokens and pinging you and beating you down. Like, you don't, not every deck has to draw a lot of cards to be able to win. I think if it's part of your game plan that you're playing more of a mid-rangey pile, then sure, definitely find a way to get more cards in your hand. But if your goal is just put your opponent to 0 as fast as possible, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of cards. You know, it depends on what the rest of the deck makeup is. I'd like to see my take on a burn focus deck. I'm gonna be honest, it probably just looks like everybody else's deck. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, is there any innovation in a burn deck right now? I'm like what would make it any different? I'm just like, we just play all the burn spells and call it good? Yeah, I don't even know what, I'm literally just thinking, like, I don't know what you would even play that would be different. Though technically, didn't we do that already? Sort of? Hold on. Like, didn't we have, not the big red deck. We played one, it was red something. Maybe it was just red. I think it was just our big red deck. That was basically a burn deck. Yeah, because we played O'Hare Ashenel, Burst Lightnings, Lightning Strike, Death to Our Enemies. Yeah, this was basically a burn deck if you wanted to play this. I mean, it was cool. But I mean, I don't think red really has, like, burn really has a lot of innovation. It would just look like everybody else's deck, I think. You have a discover deck, but it doesn't have new cards. Maybe you can twist it. This would be for me to just play your deck that's already doing well, just so you get your, like, 5 minutes to shine. If you want to get deck help, we do deck doctor streams periodically. Otherwise, we have links in our YouTube stuff to go to our Discord, and we have a whole standard thing where people help each other with decks all the time. Also, if you're a YouTube channel member, I have a level that you can just get private deck help as well. So it's just a little form. It comes straight to my email, and then we go back and forth that way. So there's a few different ways if you just want to get private deck help or public deck help. We have free options and paid options. That's a really fair assessment of the nature of aggro with a huge number of cards in standard. Yeah, that's part of the issue, right? I think when we get to the fall, there's definitely going to be another big, like, I don't know, we'll call it the yearly culling, because this will be the 3rd year in a row where they would have done that in the fall if they do it sometime between, like, August and September. I just don't know what all you would remove to make people happy, because everybody will be happy for a month and then they'll be unhappy again, right? Because one, we're gamers, we're players, we're going to complain. That's what gamers do. And no matter what is available, there will always be something that's at the top that people are going to play, right? Because if they're playing competitively, their goal is to find the most efficient things that do the biggest, best things, fastest or best. And that's what you're going to see the most of, right? We're just going to shift what the top 8 or 9 decks are. There's going to be either adopt new cards or there's just going to be other decks in those spots. But I mean, there's some stuff you could ban, but the problem is they're only going to be around at that point for 4 months anyway, right? Because once the first set releases in January, a bunch of those go away. If you're talking about like Storm Chasers, Talent, and stuff like that from like Bloomburrow, Duskmorn, you know, that whole year of stuff, those are just going to rotate out. So while they'll be banned, the format still wouldn't be getting a true shakeup, right? Unless you wanted to get rid of stuff from the last 2 years in that list. And then that has its other problems and perspectives, and it'll be whatever. So I don't really know what the answer is. You know, people say, get rid of Badger Mole. Like, their green decks are still going to be good. They're still going to be fast. Like, the number of times that you've probably lost to a mono green landfall deck when they've just played like Bristly Bill, which eventually who will rotate, but like Bristly Bill, Tifa, double your power guy, or the 2/4 that plays lands in the graveyard, and you just lose to that, right? Even if they don't have a Badger Mole. Like, does it make it slightly less consistent? Yes. But people are still going to be upset playing against it because the decks are still going to be good. You know, so like, I don't really know. I honestly think if anything, it's just a sheer volume of sets is the issue, right? At peak, we're going to have something like, well, starting next year, right? The peak will be 18 sets, right? 6 a year. We'll go down to 12, 13 technically, because it'll be 2 years plus 1. And then we'll fill it out during the rest of the year. Then we'll reset to 13, and then we'll build back up to 18, and that'll be the cycle. And as long as there are 1 and 2 cost efficient things, those are always going to make their way into decks, right? Whether it's burn spells, removal spells, pump spells, whatever, like whatever does the thing the cheapest at instant speed, especially, is going to be what makes the cut. So you're always going to see those, and there's not going to really be a way around it. The best thing to do, if you would like to share your deck, let me make it easy. Let me go in here and grab the link for everybody. Now we have some people interested. Let me grab this link, and I will post it in the chat. This is a link to our Discord, and then you can hop into the standard portion of the server and post a link to your deck hosted link, not to the deck list, to the actual hosted link. So if you put it on Moxfield or Architect or whatever, send me that list there, that link. And then we will go by the order they get posted in there. And like I said, we're not going to be on for a long time, maybe another hour, hour and a half. And then we'll just feature a couple of decks that people have, and we will go from there. But yeah, that link should work. I think it showed up for everybody. It did. All right, cool. Mid-range is the most responsible way to play in the general history of a healthy meta. I think it's just everything exists, right? Like, in a healthy meta, you have a couple of control decks that are going to be the top 2 control decks or whatever. You have a handful of aggro decks, usually, and you have like 3-ish mid-rangey decks. And that's usually where you want to be, right? That we would call tier 1 or whatever people want to classify as like the best decks, right? And if you have that, then everything else is whatever. Like, people can still be creative, stuff can sneak in there every once in a while. And we have seen that, right? Like, we had the weird Balloon Man deck that's starting to become a thing now. So there's still some innovation to be found and some quirky cards that people aren't playing. But the difference is how motivated are people to do it, right? Because it's easier to just say, hey, especially if I'm gonna have to spend money on a new deck, right? I'm somebody who's just starting to play competitively or whatever, whether that's on Arena or on paper. It's easier to spend money on a thing that's a known quantity other than taking a chance on something that you think is good but might not pan out or whatever, right? And that becomes the tough part. I think there's still room. I don't think we've solved everything. I don't think we've figured out everything. And we still see a new deck pop up every once in a while, right? But somebody has to take the chance first. And it's usually somebody who does well in 2 or 3 Magic Online events, or somebody does well at a open series event in paper, and then everyone starts paying attention. Okay, oh, now this might be a deck, right? And then the community starts iterating on a deck, and then it becomes part of the meta, right? That's kind of how that works. Your mid-range plays your heart, but I think the people who think that it's the only fair way to play are the same people who get mad about cheese and StarCraft. Yeah, I think all of the ways are fair ways, right? I don't think there's anything wrong. I just think it becomes tough when trying to word this correctly so I just don't start arguments. Like, say when your aggro decks are so efficient that even the answers are 1 mana, right? And there's so many of them. Because even against, say, like, is it aggro, prowess, whatever, depending on your version, they can play Secret Identity, and they can play the one that, like, you remove a creature, they get to, face down something, right? Both of those are super efficient, really good cards that also can be aggressive cards for those decks, but sometimes are just defensive cards to make sure they don't lose any tempo or parity in anything going on. And that's actually tough, right? That becomes an issue. And then the mid-rangey decks have a harder time because now when you do get your answer or your thing, like, it has to stick and has to do a thing, or else you're way behind at that point, right? Um, I think I just resent the extreme satisfaction a control player seems to get from keeping me from playing the game. I don't I get where you're coming from on that. Like, I think control decks are fine. The issue I have is just when we've reached I guess the problem is because I do commentary as well too. And we've reached a point where I would like for control decks to have more interactive, interesting ways to the finish, right? Because when it's just like removal, burn, sweep the board, blah, 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 just guys, revelation, it's like, well, that's not even fun to do commentary for. That's not even fun to watch, right? But if it was, all right, we're going to pump up our lands, we're going to play a couple of planeswalkers, we're going to do whatever. Okay, cool. Now we have some fun interactive things going on. And like, these can make for some interesting finishes. And I do think there's still a world where somebody will probably figure out some crazy Doctor Doom whatever pile, and then like you're able to protect Doom or flicker it during your instep to keep making more Doom bots or something, right? That will probably be a deck sooner or later. And it's like, okay, that'll be fun, right? Like, it creates inevitability. You get blockers, like, it's something to do. Like, it creates a little bit of tension on if you have the thing to protect your Doom or not, or whatever the card is. It may not be Doom, it could be something else, right? But those are at least more interesting. But again, I'm not going to invalidate those decks from existing, because part of the reason they exist the way they do is because we also have the hyper aggro decks. So they're loading up on extra removal because the aggro decks are super fast. So like, it's a, chicken and the egg type scenario in some cases. Uh, Thank you for the happy birthday. No fun to play when everything you do is blocked. Nope, deck go play solitaire. I mean, the thing is, though, you have to also just take that into account, right? Because I literally have people that go like, I don't know how you got this deck to Mythic. You can't beat anything or whatever. And like, you're literally watching the games, right? Like, I mean, I play all kinds of quirky stuff. Y'all see it all the time. And we still climb the ladder with them. But you have to build with that in mind. You have to play with that in mind, right? Of, all right. And there's people be like, I don't know why you play so conservative. Because like there's a billion sweepers and a billion removal. And I want to have a haste creature after like the day judgment goes off or whatever. And that's how we're laddering up, But there's a real fact. And this is a hard fact for gamers as a whole. And I don't care if you play Magic. I don't care if you play League of Legends. I don't care if you play CSGO, whatever, right? Hell, even in poker, whatever. The average gamer is significantly worse at the games they play than they think they are. And that is historical in my experience across I don't care if you play Warhammer, I don't care if you play board games or whatever. Most people are worse at the games they think they are. And that leads them to the belief of, well, I'm doing everything right, or I'm making all the best plays, or I'm doing what I should be doing, but yet I'm not able to win, so something must be wrong, right? The format's bad, the game's unfair, whatever, right? Yet you see examples of other people still doing well. And nobody wants to have that conversation, but it's true, right? Like, and even me, like there was a time where I was definitely better than I am now because I was playing regularly and I was testing with other people that were grinding and caring about being super competitive. Like now, half the times when I'm recording videos, I'm answering questions for people working on YouTube stuff. I have friends sending me texts that I'm responding to. Like I'm waiting on an email, like so I'm not even focusing 100% while I'm making the videos because they're fun, right? Like I'm doing this to just experiment and try other decks or whatever. I'm not playing it to be competitive or whatever. So I know I'm going to make mistakes, whatever, and I don't really care, right? And people get in the comments like, I can't believe, like, yeah, great. So you pointed out I didn't play perfectly. Hell, half the time in the videos, I'm telling you I'm not playing perfectly. I'm telling you I'm keeping a bad hand because I just want to see what happens or whatever, right? Things I wouldn't do if I were playing competitively. But that's just a thing, right? Like, it's like I play team fight tactics. I enjoy it. I know I'm not good at it, but I'm not going to sit here and like, as I'm losing, just be like, I don't understand. And this isn't fair. And we're like, no, I get it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like playing a thing for a length of time doesn't matter. Like I go bowling. I have bowled probably hundreds of games in my life. I suck at bowling. I still enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that I suck at it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be like, I only bowled a 150 or whatever. Like it's just a thing. Hey, Dark Man, how's it going? Thank you for that. Ward is a nice evolution of mechanics. Yes, I do like Ward. It does help out quite a bit. Learning to play against control matchups has actually been fun. Just had to first learn to not take it personally. Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about? The only reason I'm not on the pro tour is I can't afford the gas money. There's a lot of people that genuinely believe that, as funny as that is. Watching creators like you who actually talk about the decisions help me understand what I'm missing entirely. I don't have nearly as much knowledge about current cards, decks, and play around them. Yeah, actually, this is a good example, actually, because there was a couple people that commented on this in the Storm deck video, or with Storm, that was yesterday's, I think, where I was playing against the mono green landfall deck, and they had Tifa, and they're like, oh, well, you could have kept both creatures back with First Strike. And in my head, like, yes, I could have, but I've played against those decks enough to know they also could just have, if they had just had like a Snakeskin Veil, then me just staying back and blocking does nothing anyway, right? And the way my hand was set up, I'm buying a turn, but for what end? You know what I mean? Hell, they could also have had, some of them are playing that thing where you sack 2 lands and then you go search for 4 lands and put them into play. So if they have those, I lose as well, right? There's a bunch of cards they could have where we just lose. So at that point, I would rather attack, try to create some pressure. Hopefully they don't have the card they need, and then maybe I could top deck like practiced offense and force a weird block on their side or whatever and try to make something happen. That was all I was going for. They had the cards, I lost, and that's fine, right? I gambled on the aggressive side and no big deal. But it's weird to see people go like, this was the only play and blah, blah, you should have done this. Like, yeah, but you're also not considering the other outcomes. Like I could also just do that and end up in just a blowout situation and lose anyway. And in either scenario, if they have the thing they need, I'm probably dying regardless. So I'll just go for the aggressive option. And if I lose, I lose. Like it's Arena. We're not playing for anything. So I'm okay losing a game, right? No deck is going to run perfect anyway. So why be concerned about it? If anything, as a viewer, you got to see what the other line looks like, right? Versus the line you probably would have taken if that's what you believe. And that's okay, right? You at least got to see something else and you get to learn from an interaction. I've said many times, I think too many players are searching for the videos or the decks of the decks that are winning or playing perfectly or whatever, and just destroying the meta. And I'm going to play this thing. But the reality is that's not real. Hell, I have a video coming up in 2 days where I went 11-1. And I think I tell you at the end of that video, don't expect to go 11-1. That's not real. Like maybe 7-4, 8-3 even, sure, but you're not going to go 11-1. It's just not a real thing, right? Sometimes you just on a sun run, like you run hot and things go great and everything's in your way. You get the right matchups. Maybe you get bad opponents. Maybe somebody misplays, whatever, right? Really, what people should be looking for are videos where the decks don't necessarily do well, so you can see why they don't do well. So you can see interactions that don't work. So when you go to deck build, you're not wasting time on cards or combinations that aren't a thing. But sadly, as creators, we're not benefited to make those because those don't get views. So all the bad decks, we just trash and don't make videos from. Matter of fact, I have a video already loaded, edited, and up that's not scheduled because the deck's just not good. I think there's some interesting interactions. I think it could be kind of fun to watch, but the end result is the deck's just not good. But I'm just not sure if I even want to bother posting it because I already know what the views are going to be. So it might be a day where I just post it as like the second video for the day or something, but that just happens. You know, I just put it on there so like if I need a sick day or something, I'm like, hey, I could at least post a thing and make it live, right? But it's real. So my deck is on Moxfield. How do I find the link or just the given name? If you go to Moxfield, and let me see the easiest way to explain this to somebody from my side. If you look, there's a bar that says primer, playtest, bulk edit, buy deck, and then there's more with 3 dots. You click that, and there's an export, and then it says, actually, no, not even that. Not even that. You could just title bar and the URL, just copy that and share it and put that in the Discord. That'll get you where you want to go. But anyway, let's take a look at a couple of decks we have that people have submitted. Let's see what we got. First one here is from Blair. Blair, am I saying that right? Bleier. I don't want to get that wrong. This will be interesting. Let's see what we got. Let's export to Arena. I will take that. I will put this over here. And let's see what we're working with. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to craft a bunch of cards for this. Uh-oh. I may have to load some money to see if we're gonna actually play this. Oh, it's an Iron Man armor. That's fine. I'll spin that. Use a mythic on that. That's probably okay. I watch so many different creators and it helps learn so much. Yeah, exactly. You can learn a lot from different, because everybody's got different play styles and different preferences. Favorite deck to play in standard is it Storm with Ral. 50-50 if it works, but it's a ton of fun. That probably is fun. CGB does play trash decks. He played a red deck and got spanked. That happens, you know? And CGB can get away with it because he does have a bigger following, right? Like, he's got, I don't know, 4x the number of subscribers I have. Actually, probably closer to 5 at some point. So, I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it is what it is, you know? But all right, what do we got going on here? We've got Torch the Tower, Pollinator, Extruder, Ravenous Robots. Man, there is a lot going on here that feels a bit unnecessary. I think the problem, and not to pick at the deck at all, but it feels a little unfocused. Like, do we need to be doing like white for the Thousand Moons Smithy and for Krang? Like, we could have just been mostly just red and like splash the blue for the Pinnacle Emissary and then just go ham on consistent stuff and then just add like an extra extruder, maybe an extra gunship or something. And then just go from like yeah, because like Phantom Train, we don't really need a Phantom Train. Right? The deck has a bunch of other ways to win. This is just like, we just jammed a bunch of things in there because they say artifact. You know, that's what it feels like. Still gonna play it, but that's the vibe I'm getting. But who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it's super awesome. I have definitely been wrong before. Hell, in the video I put up, I think today or yesterday, where it's like the Shang-Chi deck, when it started, I was like, I don't even know why Shang-Chi's in here. I don't ever use the ability. And then like 2 games in, I'm like, never mind, I get it. Like, gotta be open and be wrong and learn, you know? So pollinator. Yeah, this just feels largely like the blue-red artifact decks. We've just splashed other cards in here. All right. I'm going to assume our first creature dies since the opponent played a mountain and passed. Yep. We are not going to get to keep this pollinator. That's okay, though. The only downside is we're taking damage from all these lands against mono red. Also, who's the monster that brings mono red into the play queue? What's wrong with you people? I guess this is the best situation we're going to get for this with this hand. I mean, they can lightning strike the emissary, and that's fine. Hey, what's up? Thank you for the raid there, friendo. Oh, not even that. Okay, now we're on something. Opponent's playing Virtue of Courage. Hey, all right. Opponent's got count on. Now we're doing some fun stuff. Things are about to get interesting now. Let's go ahead and play the weapons manufacturing attack. Yeah, and this is kind of part of the problem, right? When you have to play, when you're trying to play all these different colors and you got to play the different lands and whatnot to supplement your cards. Part of the problem is now we can't really cast Emissary on time, which is a little bit tough. What is this, 7 to buy back? All right. Yep. Opponents just found an interesting way to do a burn deck, basically. I guess, man, there's no way we could do all 3 of these. Huh? We need 5 mana. I guess we're just, dang it. I guess we're just going to do this. It kind of is the same either way, really. At the end of the day, we end up with a couple of munitions tokens and a couple of creatures. All right. I mean, opponent gets to keep digging. They still have 4 cards in hand. So we'll see. All right. Opponent is going to try to finish us very quickly, I imagine. So here's what we're going to do. Do I want to give those haste? Oh, it's just creature tokens. All right, I'm going to go with this. We might be dead next turn. I mean, I have played Virtue of Courage a couple of times. I know how this can go. They're about to chain off a bunch of stuff. Hopefully they don't have enough to finish us. Having a good time on stream today. We're getting into different decks from the viewers and seeing what people are working with. They have a lot of cards. Yep, Channeler going upstairs, getting some free cards. Going upstairs. Yeah, we're probably dead. Down to 7. Down to 4. I mean, they already played a land for the turn, right? So they can deal us 3 more? I don't think there's any more channeled Dragonfire. Oh, there's 1 more. Oh, they could have Bolt Wave. Those could finish us. I don't see one in their hand, though. Oh, there is the other Dragonfire. Oh, no. Those are all the ones that are in their yard. But we don't have enough on board to beat them, though, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Even if we play this and give something haste. Yeah, okay. That's the good news, I guess. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think we're just dead. Not being able to play this emissary earlier, missing the blue was tough, I think. Because we can make another token. We can give the tokens. Oh no, but then I have to tap this, right? Yeah, that doesn't even help. Yeah, we're just cooked. It's all there is to it. We're just dead. GG's, opponent. GG's. Just subscribe. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you want to submit a deck. Oh yeah, we're way dead. If you want to submit a deck, we have a link. I will put it here in a second for yep, we're dead. Here we go. We'll post the link over here for anybody. It's whoa, that's not what we wanted. That's the wrong one. Almost just gave y'all a crazy link there that would have done absolutely nothing. That's crazy. But yeah, all right. We will do this. We'll post this link here. You can hop into the Discord, go to the standard part of the server, and post a link to the deck. So if you host it on Moxfield or Archidect or whatever your choice is, MTG Goldfish, whatever, put a link to the deck that we can download it from there. And I do that because so many people have copy and pasted deck lists, and then we try to bring them into Arena and something's wrong with it or whatever. So it's easier if we can just go to the site and get it formatted straight from there, and it solves so many problems. Makes life very easy. Yeah, I think that's the issue with that deck, though, Blair. If I were going to do anything, I would just simplify it. It allows you to clean up the mana. Like, nothing wrong with keeping Krang, because it does let you refill your hand and whatever. But I would just max out your emissary, max out your extruders, cut the Thousand Moon Smithy. Because, like, even then, like, you have stuff like the Sacred Foundries that literally just gummed up our hand and weren't doing anything. And they same thing with the Singular Planes. Like, you literally never want to draw this because it's only really here for one card. You know what I mean? So these are things, same thing with the Swamp, right? It's here for one card. And that having to make those types of concessions are going to cost you consistency in your draws. Because, like, every time you have a Blood Moon and you're staring at Pinnacle Emissary, you're going to be wishing it was a Steam Vents. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what I would do. I would just clean it up if you were going to do that and just simplify it. But all right, let's take a look at from somebody who goes by the username Messiah. That's very pretentious. Oh, this is going to be very boring. But I did say I would play people's decks. So here we go. Let's copy this. This is one that if I have to craft cards for, I'm going to say no. Okay, you're lucky we didn't have to. These decks are mostly fine. I've run into these, some version of these on Arena off and on the last couple of weeks. The new thing we're seeing now is, I don't think it's in this list. The O2 that, like, when you target an opponent's thing, you make them mill 2 cards or whatever. Like, that's been showing up quite a bit. So what do we got here? We have basically a bunch of defense, some Storm Chasers talent, Unable to Scream, Witness Protection. So we're trying to win with some combination of Namor, Legend of Kurik, and Emeritus of Ideation. I mean, I guess technically Astral Agents Planisphere can get us there too. Storm Chaser's talent, I like, it's an option. All right, sure. Let's go see what's up. Hey, Josh Brown, thanks for the birthday wishes. Same thing there for Long Raider Knight. How's it going? Let's bring this here and let's take. Whoa, not a bot match. Why would it even just auto put me on a bot match? That's weird. We were just playing in the play queue. Arena has a mind of its own sometimes. Think this deck looks like fun to throw together kitchen table, but too unfocused and unreliable for ladder play. It might be the case. We'll see. See, this is my problem when I see decks like this, because you have so many things like these bounce spells that if we're playing against something that's not a creature deck, we've already lost. You know what I mean? So I think we have to mulligan. This is only marginally better. But this at least lets us dig, try to find some things. And we have plenty of mana already. Now, of course, I'll be against, like, some Badger Mole something or other. Yep, there you go. Like, just because I did that, I was like, yeah, of course, serves me right. Yeah, I do like the Dragon Alliance. I'm a big fan. Oh, we're just ramping. Oh, you know what? This is probably a random encounter deck. I do love me some random encounter decks. Wait, this deck doesn't even have... Were there no counter spells on this list? I just realized that. That seems like a bad thing. How are we playing mono blue without at least like 6-ish counters of some kind? Yep, they're definitely going to be going big next turn. Yeah, if they even just like Smuggler Surprise or whatever, we're just cooked, right? I guess we have to turn this guy off so we just don't get wrecked next turn, because there's multiple things they can play for 6 mana. Yeah, that's the one you were... Where that... Was that... That looks like a Final Fantasy one, but I don't know that it is. Boy. Alright, well, I guess we just play Namor and hope for the best. Because what the hell else are we going to do? Here we go! I'm assuming they're about to high roll. Yep, that's exactly what it is. And they hit strong, too. Not an unbeatable amount. I guess we'll block 7. Problem is, this thing has reach, so we're not even going to be able to punch past that guy. I'm going to go digging and see if we can find something. I don't know what else we're supposed to do. Legend of Kurik's one of our few ways to win, though we kind of need this, sadly. Or else we can't do anything. Put this on a Merfolk, I guess? And then I'll just attack while we can. Yep. Oh, no, I know they were in Foundations. I just was thinking about the art. I thought there was an alternate one from Final Fantasy that looked like that. Oh, that's not good. They're not even trying to cast their dude. They're just like, I'm just going to go digging for something. Like, the digging's more important to them. Okay. Let's play Emeritus. Let's play this so they can't just search or whatever with their Bind a Life. Oh, it stays. As long it's not even attached to the card. Oh, no. I thought that was requisite on the card having the ability to be prepared. Oh, we're in trouble. Because at that point, it'd have been better to put it on the Overlord. Oh, that's bad. I mean, we're probably in bad shape anyway, though. What are they digging for? I guess trying to thin the deck out before they cast the Bind to Life. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that I guess could have hurt worse. Yeah, exactly. Take out that. That makes sense. What did you get off the top? All right, good news is we can at least block that. And we can block a 5/5. Take 7. Storm Chaser's talent. Is there anything good in the yard? Not really, just a flow state. So let's just Ancestral Recall. What can we do with this guy? Whenever he controls deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Kaido. Up to 1 target creature control can't be blocked. You can make a 2/1 and emblems whenever player casts a spell, make a ninja. All right. Okay. Is there any combination where we're just not dead? I mean, we could block a 5/5 technically, so let's do this. We get to prepare again after we deal damage, right? Oh, I have to exile 8 cards from the hand. Well, never mind. Not that that changes much anyway. I mean, we're still probably dead because they're going to be able to fire off a random encounter. All right.
I'll go high.
Can you get a judge? For what? Oh my gosh. Well, at least they don't have haste, I guess. Like I said, could have been worse. I mean, you attack anyway, right? Worst case scenario, you deal 4 to me, then I have to block Wrath and Mikey in some combination to not die. That's what I would do. Yeah, that still works. Because, I mean, you still get to trample 4 damage, I guess. Oh, Trumpeting Carnosaur. Sure, why not? You get all the goods. All right, I'm going to give him the GGs. We don't have an out. We don't have Aetherize or anything in the deck. All right, I'm just going to let it through. Yeah, you don't even have to attack my Planeswalker opponent. You're good. Yeah, I think, like I was saying, that's the issue with this deck. Like, I immediately identified that we had no outs once they got their stuff down. Right? Our best bet was just going to be to draw things that bounce, and I don't think that's good enough against most decks. Like, there's a lot of anti-creature stuff where you're talking about 8 bounce spells, 8 things to turn creatures off, only 2 flow states, only 3 ops, like some of the only 2 stock ups. Like, the better cards we're skimping on to play more of these other things. I would trim these back to maybe like 6 bounce spells and maybe 4 to 6 of these enchantments that turn something off, and then get at least 4 to 5 counters of some variety in, and then max your ops, go up another flow state or stock up, and then try to go that route. So you have things you can do to just stop, like sweepers, or on the turn where they, like, you know, they random encountered or whatever. We'd at least have something we can do other than just have to be able to bounce something. I mean, Aetherize still exists if you're worried, but you don't need Cyclonic Rift. Like, Aetherize is still a card in Standard if you really want it. I don't know if I would necessarily play it, but I mean, if you want that effect, similar, right? And it solves some of the same problems. But that's where I would be on that one. I think there's going to be a lot of games that if you're ahead, like say you get the draw where you have Storm Chaser's Talent, you get down a Planisphere, you get a Namor and somehow it doesn't die, then you're just going to run away with the game, right? But if your opponent's playing back and forth and you're taking time off to have to like bounce a thing and you're stuck with the Emeritus in hand and whatever, like like, I will say this, we talked a lot in the video me and Dev did about Emeritus of Ideation, where everybody got excited because they saw the words Ancestral Recall, but in function, it's actually not particularly great, right? It doesn't even show up in most of the control deck list or whatever that you would think would really love this type of card. So I don't even know if it's a card you necessarily need, truthfully. You could maybe go heavier on the Legend of Kurik and probably be better off. And it's a mana less, right? That gives you more flexibility. Type of threats it's running basically means it needs to play as a control until 6 mana. I don't know if that's 100% true. It's more of a mid-rangey deck than a control deck. But you need to still be able to, at some point, deal with your opponent's answers, right? Just bouncing a thing isn't enough unless you have like a really big Astrologian's Planisphere creature, right? That has like 6 tokens on it or something, right? Then bouncing stuff out of the way is great. Or, like I said, if you manage to get Namor to stick and, you know, he's like a 5 power thing or something. The problem, though, I think why Namor is even going to be weak in here, though, is you just don't have that many merfolk. Right? You're relying on Namor to make all the merfolk. And because, like, there's rarely a time where Namor is going to hit the table and already be like 4 power or whatever. Now, the following turn, you might be able to play 2 spells or 3 spells and get like 3 counters or 3 tokens, and then like, all right, cool. Now I have a 5/4 or whatever. But the benefit to them in the mono blue or blue white Merfolk decks is that every creature is already pumping them up. So there's times you're going to play them on turn 3 and it's already a 4/4. You know what I mean? You're like, play a creature, play 2 creatures, play Namor, right? That's a thing that happens. But you don't have that option. So it's, I see where you're going. I can see the vision. I just think it just needs to be cleaned up a bit. Got to be a bit more focused. I think that's going to be the theme of the day, is like, decks got to be more focused. Let's say I said, I did 5 killer robots as a sort of deck building limitation, but you're so right about the lands. Thanks for 3-bet. You're welcome. Sure, I could have saved Namor, but we're still going to lose that game. Like, it's not even about a punt or not. It's the point where I realized I didn't really care because the game was already over. Like, we're just going through the motions at that point. With our hand, there was no scenario where we were winning that, unfortunately. An opponent was still at 16, I think, when that game was over. Whatever the total was. It was a very high number. So we weren't even close to winning that one. Long Raider Knight says, your Merfolk deck was awesome. I love that video so much. Had to craft the cards, and Namor is an impact of the card. Yeah, when everything's a Merfolk and you get to play Leviathan, right? Because then the Leviathan just clears the board, even if your opponent does get a crazy draw. Right? Leviathan instead of Emeritus? Maybe. I mean, well, not really. It doesn't really work in that deck, right? Because, well, it works if you already have a Namor that's made some tokens. But if you don't, then the Leviathan's also just resetting your board too, and that's just okay at that point. But either way, it's probably still better than the Emeritus anyway, just as a card, truthfully. Yeah, we all agree the blue deck needs counterspells. All right, let me hop back into the Discord, see what else people have posted in here. We'll see if we get through all of these. Falknor, you are next up with something that says Discover on it. I try not to look at the list before I load them so I could be surprised. But the fact that the first thing I saw was Ugin, if this is a truly control deck, we are not doing this on this stream. Like, not that I will still play control decks for content purposes, but for a stream where we got to get through the other decks. Let's see. Okay, this is at least like doing other things. Applied Geometry, Breaching Dragon Storm, Trumpeting Carnosaur, hit the Mother Load. How do we cast anything? I don't understand. We have a lot of really big cards and no way to cast anything. Yeah, this is not good. Like, I can't imagine, and I'm not trying to be insulting. Like, I just, like, one, I don't even know why Ugin's hanging out. Ugin can kick rocks. I'm just taking that out of the list. But I don't, yeah, we got to have something to ramp up to this, because our only thing that costs less than 5 is Applied Geometry, and it doesn't do anything unless one of these other things is already on the battlefield. I mean, we do have Carnosaur, that we have some defense on 3, but like, yeah. I mean, technically we ramp with the room-ish? But if we don't get exactly this card, do we do anything? I will give it a go because I said I will. But this one feels like it already needs a giant overhaul. Why does it keep wanting to go back to the play queue? What's going on? All right. Or to the, yeah, it's really not doing much. That's the concern. You get to Play any deck, but you're not allowed to win the game unless you've gifted a fish. That's actually fairly easy to do. All right, we at least drew the weight room. Oh my gosh, and we're also playing the tap lands. Oh, this is gonna be a rough go, but we're keeping. Hey, at least we got moldering gem, right? Why is it called moldering? Why would it not just be molding gem or molded gem? I just realized that. But here's the problem, right? Even if we get it and we draw another land, we're only at 5 land on turn 4. That's still not going to let us cast anything. Oh, and well, that's going to turn off some of the stuff we want to do anyway. All right, well, we'll just see what happens. Oh, no. This is going to be bad for us. Because our opponent is, I'm assuming next turn, going to try to play... Oh, crap. What color do we need? Probably green? Yeah. Black, probably? And then just start going nuts? Nope, there's a Tigre. That's even worse. Oh, boy. Hey, at least we got something we can kill a Tigre. We can do a thing. That keeps us from getting blown out, at least. Sad, though, because that's the card we were closest to actually being able to cast. Would you like to spend a turn getting rid of my room? Because sadly, the best thing we can do is unlock the room. Because everything costs more than 6, even if we get a land. But that's the thing, like, what's the go nuts situation, right? That we hit from the Breaching Dragonstorm. Ooh, if we can kill that, we get to unlock the room and search for a land again. That actually might help us. Let us find another dragon. Oh, dang it. We didn't find another Carnosaur. All right, now here's the good and the bad, right? If we draw an untapped land, we get to cast something. However, if that is a tapped land because we're playing the life gain lands, we now can't do anything. This is also why people have asked, why don't you play more of the life gain lands? It's for these exact type of scenarios, right? We wait around for a land, and we're still stuck not to be able to cast anything. All right, room. Sweet. Let's do it. I feel like our opponent has a bunch of kill cards in hand, and that's why we're getting lucky. This makes green. You're all right. Yeah, so let's get red, I guess. Yeah, I wouldn't play gain lands in this either. You just can't afford to. Like, you have to hit an untapped land on your 6th or 7th land. All right, we actually get to do stuff. I think I'm going to go with Improvisation Capstone. All right, we got a Breaching Dragonstorm. Used all 5 of our costs. That goes and gets a Breaching Dragonstorm. Sure, why not? And that gets... I hit the Mother Load. Sure. That gets a Breaching Dragonstorm. Sure. And that one gets... an Applied Geometry. What the hell are we even going to copy with this? 1, 2. I don't. Do we just copy a Dragonstorm? Is there even? I guess that's what we're doing because copying the room doesn't really do much. All right, copy a Dragonstorm, I guess. We're never returning it, but whatever. Yeah, we'll just play a full-size Carnosaur. F it. Have a feeling they're going to probably try to sweep the board here anyway. All right, let's do it. Let's copy Carnosaur, I guess. Dragonstorm says 8 or less, right? No, let's just go Carnosaur. I feel the board's just going to get swept anyway. I probably should have just put the Applied Geometry in hand. Yeah, let's put that one in hand. We don't need to be doing any more shenanigans here. Because if they don't have a sweeper, then yeah, it doesn't matter. There you go. All right, there we go. Yeah, that took us until what, turn 7 to really play anything significant. And that's kind of the issue. I was saying when we just looked at the list, like we have to scale it way back. About half the big cards need to be some amount of removal and ramp to get you where you want to go. Even if that was like the teamer enchantment that like deals 3 to stuff, and when you play a land, make a dragon, right? Because then you could at least like bounce these and replay them and do some cool stuff like that. That could be kind of cool. So like that could give you some options. But yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go that still could help the deck out, but it's very top heavy. And even like applied geometry, like I said, it's fun when we're already like cycling cards, but before we do that, it doesn't really have a target, right? It's been good in the other decks because we've already ramped up, or you have like an Ouroboros the turn before, and now you got like double Ouroboros, but one of them's already got 6 counters, and like you can do some really big stuff when you're ready to play it. But it's a little tougher in this list too. I don't even know if it's the right card to be playing, but I think if you put more ramp and removal and setup cards in the deck, this could still be decent, right? Because again, we saw that we can roll into it with a Dragonstorm or a Carnosaur and get some cool value out of it. That's just a case though where our opponent really didn't play anything, right? They probably had a hand with removal that wasn't doing much. And then when we played 3 or 4 things in a turn, it's like even if they had a removal, what are they doing? They're just blocking next turn, right? So that's and all of our stuff had trample, I think, except for 1. So that's a little tough for them. Or a case where they didn't get any of their life gain stuff, right? Maybe they needed double white or something. I don't know what the case was. But sometimes you and your opponent doesn't do anything, right? I tell people all the time, you get a W in the win column, doesn't have to be pretty. The record books just show a W. Yeah, Bloombrine region's totally fine, right? Especially if you're already playing the Breaching Dragonstorm, because then you just cast it, you get to pick it up and reuse it, right? It's another dragon that counts for that. So that's a totally reasonable option. I don't think there's a problem with that. All right, let's go see who's next in line. That was Falconor. Blair, you already did one, so we're skipping over you. Everybody only gets one. So we're going to hop into Turd of Prey. But I'll still look at your deck. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. What do we got? What do we got? Let's see. Export to Arena, copy to clipboard, and let's move over here. See what we got. Do. Hey, Kami, thanks for the birthday wishes. 2 to 3 Quintorius. Yeah, that'd be pretty tough. All right. So this is a white red. Oh, this is just mono red aggro, basically. Yeah. We're not really going to feature this one, mostly because this is just mono red aggro. All right, we're just choosing to play white cards instead of red cards. We've already done this, seen this. The idea is for people to get to show something kind of different and fun and trying new things or get help with decks. But this I feel like we've kind of seen already. This is just really, it's the Molten Core Maestro, Slick Shot, Show Off. The only difference here, it's not playing the mouse when most of these decks play the mouse, and then it's just trying to protect your like 12 creatures or whatever. So like, yeah, if you want to submit another deck, feel free to submit another one. Yeah, this just isn't going to be fun to feature. We've all seen various versions of mono red, Boros aggro, just cast spells, trigger your prowess and whatnot, right? We've all seen some version of that. Yeah, if you are late to the stream, I don't know, we're going to be on for, I don't know. We'll see how much longer we're going to be on. But as long as we're on, we will try to get to everything. There's usually a point where it's just like, to extend the stream and cut the line, you can make a donation or whatever. But right now, we're still leaving it open. Unless people just want to make, birthday donos. I'm cool. I'm not going to say no to that. Super chats and whatnot. But there's a link to Discord. If you have a link to where your deck is hosted, not the deck list itself, do not post that in the Discord. Post a link to where it's hosted. You will be next in line when we get to that. Turret of Prey, though, feel free to submit another deck list if you would like to. Like we said in the opener, we're trying to feature some different things, some stuff that people may not have seen, some decks people want to get help with. The opportunity, more than anything else. Let's export to Arena. Let's see what we got going on. Good morning, William. How's it going? Zoetic Stones has said, uh-oh, what are we going to have to craft for this one? A Mind Stone. Well, I'm definitely just going to go one less Mind Stone. I don't think I want to waste a mythic on that. Day of Judgment. I hate when it splits up the artworks when I have 4 of a single one. Just put 4 of the same one in there. What are we doing? Is this just a control deck? I'm confused. So we're playing Novus Inspector, Greedy Freebooter as our only creatures, and then we're doing Zoetic Glyph. Yeah, I guess I'll give this a go. I'm just going to cut a Mind Stone. I don't think it's necessary. Matter of fact, I don't know if either stone is really necessary in here. Like, the average casting cost is so low. Unless we're planning on, like, sacrificing these or something. Because, like, we don't have anything you're really going to get back with the Soul Stone. I mean, like, Freebooter and Inspector, we're not really trying to do that. I feel like if we're at that stage of the game, things have probably gotten pretty bad. Mind Stones still has uses. Oh, hey. A raid. Thank you so much. Oh, no, that's not a raid. That's a super chat. What's up? Thank you, Barry Drake. How's it going? And Phil Jackson sent a membership gifted. Thank you. Yeah. All right. We'll take this in there and see what we got. I'm going to try not to judge it. We might get surprised by this one. This could be entertaining. Let's see what we got going on. It doesn't have to be on Moxfield. If you put it on Arcadeck, you put it on Goldfish, wherever you host your deck, you can just post a link to it, wherever it's at. Like this one somebody put up, it was on, what's that other site? Aether Hub. So like, it doesn't matter. You can put it wherever, right? I use Moxfield because they're good people and they sponsor the channel, and I recommend others do, but you can host wherever you want to host. It's fine. Zoetic Glyph to Infinity Stones to get an indestructible 5/4. I could see that, right? But could we also do like Nutrient Block or something? Just a 1 mana card, right? Okay, we're not going to care about the Savannah Lion too much, I don't think, because we can attempt to block it until they, like, shelter, because I see people do that, which is always funny. Uh-oh, is this going to be cats? We might need to race to a second white mana. Might be where we're headed. All right, let's go ahead and play the Soul Stone. And we'll play this, and we'll hope we find a white mana at some point. Just pass. Though, if we block with the Freebooters, we'll get a treasure. So that's fine. And then... yeah, we're just blocking. Oh, are they going to sneak something in? Nope. All right. I was kind of hoping they would, because then we'd get... because they'd probably sneak something and replay the Vanguard. We'd have got super value. I mean, I guess we could have another Freebooter. I guess is okay. I'm not opposed to it. A third Vanguard, and... okay. Well, if they just have a bunch of Vanguards, I think we go ahead and Day of Judgment and call it good. And then we Freebooter. And pass. Okay, there's a Pride Mate, but we got rid of all the life gainers, so that's cool. I have to manually tap here so that we can play this on the Soul Stone and attack. The only problem here, though, is once your opponent gets a reasonable blocker, then you just have this 5/4 that's not really doing anything. But, I mean, 5's still a significant amount of power, though. It's a lot to deal with. But it's kind of quirky. It's doing its thing. I dig it. Do we block? Yeah, let's block and scry. See what we find. Plus, we're probably just going to get... no more lies? Yeah, sure. That's fine. Now let's just scrap one of these. See if we can get rid of the Pride Mate. So we just don't have to worry about it going forward. Hey, we're doing the thing, though. All right. I mean, if you're not blocking, you're attacking. Oh, we have another Soul Stone. That doesn't help. Unless we just really wanted to get something off the Zoetic Glyph. There's really no reason to play it. All right, end the turn. Yep, we take some damage. Down to 13. Another Zoetic Glyph. This one's a little weird, because I kind of want to... All right, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to play this here. And yes, I could play it on the Dusk Rosewell Aquarium and all that, but if I have to sack it... Okay, they didn't have anything else. All right. Yeah, my thought was just attempt to attack. If they get rid of one, fine. We get something from the glyph. If they flash something in or whatever pre-attack, then we just leave them both up and then we'll sacrifice it, get something, use the no more lies. But yeah, all right, cool. Conceptually, this is kind of neat, though. It is doing something cool and different. Got to give you credit. And honestly, it's probably not far from where you want it to be. Of the decks we've seen so far, this one's probably the closest to being near something. Like, I would probably nitpick some of the choices as we went through, like World Walker, Helm. Like, I get what we're doing. There's probably something better we can play in this spot, but overall, don't hate it, though. Don't hate it. There's some interesting stuff here, for sure. Like, thumbs up, doing some very cool stuff. I can dig it. This is the type of deck I would spend some time working on and seeing if I could clean up to do something kind of fun and different with it. I don't know if it's laggy for you. Mine actually looks fine. And I'm looking at it on 3 different platforms. So I don't think it's laggy. Ghoulie Young, thanks for the birthday wishes. Wishes. Go Gatewatch, welcome. They aren't blocking or attacking. They definitely were not for a minute there. All right, let's see who's next on the list. Oh my gosh, what happened there? All right, so that was her play. It was William BF. Oh, that was the last one in the queue. All right, is there anybody else that wants to hop in the queue? It looks like we got to the end. Turd of Prey, though, you're still next up if you post another one. Because I told you could repost. Let's go ahead and put the link there again for the Discord if you want to go into the standard chat. Put a link to wherever your deck list is, whatever site you host it on, and you can be next up. Currently the queue is empty. Well, not true. We have one from Hillian Likely is now in there. So let's see what you got going on. Let's take a look at this. Let's copy. The last one was kind of interesting, though. For real. I would mess with that a little bit. So we're just doing Dimir Fairies. Going old school with a Beria. Okay. All right. All right. Patchwork banner. Some enduring curiosity. Okay. Definitely something we've seen before, but it's been a while. Let's go ahead and fire this one up. Do, 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 do. Yeah, Gatewatch, I don't know how long we're going to be on tonight. I've been up since very, very early this morning. Got up early the last couple days. We've been doing different birthday activities with the family. All right, what do we got here? We have a multiversal passive, which obviously has to be on black. Yeah, I think we keep it. This thing costs 2, right? Okay, that's what I thought. Let's just take some damage. Let's hit him with an ego drain. Oh, I guess we're taking a Llanowar Elf then, huh? Exile a card. Sure. It's going to be probably Fairy Fencing. Our goal right now is just going to be get Abira down. Ugh, well, also draw land somewhere along the way would be nice. Need some opinions on Sleep Curse Fairies. Sometimes good, other times not. That's about how it is, honestly. Which is why we don't see it played too much. You're not going to Snakeskin Vel my thing. Oh, wait, did you draw, like, Get Lost or something? That'd be crazy. Go to attacks. What's the other thing? Whenever another fairy you control enters, opponent loses a life. All right. I mean, they do have white mana, so something could happen here, but I think we're going to go ahead and just play the Sleep Curse Fairy. As much as I would like to just counter the Mossborn Hydra. Oh, they did draw on a road. Actually, that helps us. So, sure. I ain't mad at it. Hey, thank you. Fro Nation, happy birthday, man. Been playing your World War Hulk build. Made a way to platinum. Awesome. That's always cool when people have some good luck with stuff. All right, what is this? Whenever another creature you control enters, put a counter on it. All right, so let's see what we're doing. Here comes the Hydra that's going to try to get a counter, but we're not going to let that Hydra hit the battlefield. That seems bad for business. But we really, really, really would like an untapped land here, though. Ugh, that was probably the worst case scenario. All right, well, we can at least take a counter off the Sleep Curse Fairy, I guess. And hope they don't have another Hydra, because this will be bad if they do. All right, they scried to the bottom. That's always a positive. What do we got going? Oh, no. Hey, that's a card after my own heart, man. I can't even be mad if I lose to it. I have had so many fun decks with that card. Okay, well, we finally found another land, so that's some good news. I say we attack, and then we just get some cards and see if we can find a way to get ourselves out of trouble. Oh no, triple Bitter Bloom Bear. No. Oh, this is not good. This is going to be a problem. I mean, you can go search for a land and put counters on things. Yeah, starting towns are always good, especially if you're playing a low curve deck. All right, so you can put at least one counter on because you can search for a land. You can put one counter with a Snakeskin Veil. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's see what the other card is. We either trade or you just get to keep your unicorn and we just have an enchantment. That's fine. I don't know if they thought we weren't going to block. I mean, right now it feels good. It feels like that other card might not be anything. What deck we're doing? We're playing viewer decks. Oh, this is your deck. What are you asking? I'm so confused right now. All right, they're gonna search for a land. Put counters on Duders. Oh no, they're just making a 2/2 actually. Huh? Is it just 2 snakeskin bales? Nope, it's just 1. They were just willing to trade. All right. Well, that's cool, I guess. Playing Leonardo. +1 for each other creature you control. Sure. We're going to attack. Get us 2 cards. Well, we found the rest of the mana. Question is it too late? Oh, that sucks. Oh, that was bad. Them finding a fetch land was like the worst thing. Though, okay. Next turn, we do have some good news. That we could play the Bitterbloom Bears and not even have to be around to take the damage from them, making the tokens. Opponent's at 12. What's the best case scenario? We have 4 black sources, so we need something we could do with blue. We're obviously not going to win by not attacking. That's not a thing. So we have to attack and try to find something. I guess we could... No, we wouldn't have mana for that. Oh, there we go. Fabloom Trick. That's perfect. That'll work. So if we're at 4... we could play Fabloom Trick. That gets us 2 blockers. Yeah, I don't think they have anything that's going to give stuff trample. I think we're fine. Right? You know, famous last words. They could have a removal spell or something. Actually, if we play 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this just to be on the safe side. And we can still play a Fabloom Trick and cast Bitterbloom Bearer. We could have played Patchwork Banner and some combination there, but I think this is fine. So we can tap a thing down, make 2 blockers, play the Bitterbloom Bearer, and we can decide what to block with based on what they do. So let's tap that and let them decide how they want to go about business. All right. Assuming they have nothing else, we're just going to block with these knuckleheads. And go to 3. All right, I think we're good. Play the Patchwork Banner. Put it on Fairy. 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, no, that one doesn't attack. So we're only going to be able to do 8. Oh. I mean, we can still cast 2 Bitterboom Bears, though. Ah, but we're going to take damage from Leatherhead. All right, we'll attack with this. Strategic Betrayal is an interesting option. Because now we can Betrayal, play a guy. Oh, that's true. I could have removed the counter from Flitterwing. That would have done it. I think we're fine either way, though. Like, we'll have enough blockers. This makes any color mana, right? Yeah, we'll be fine. Pass the turn. Yeah, that's not going to matter. Do. Because we'll just flash in, block, won't take more than 1 trample, and then we can get the rest done, I think. Yeah, that's their only real play. You just got to attack with everything, right? And then we just block Leatherhead, token blocks, Bitter Bloom Bearer blocks. And then there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, their hand's empty. That's got to be it. Like, they can get rid of an enchantment. Oh, no, but they could get rid of our banner. That's not good, actually. All right. I guess we got to block like that. That sucks. I mean, we still have it anyway, because again, we can remove the counter from the Flitter Wing, so. Wouldn't necessarily have been able to. I guess we still could remove 2 counters, so I guess it would have been fine no matter what. Yep, that thing could have all the abilities. We go to 2. And we're gonna, well, that's not a bad card to have either. And then we're just gonna attack with the flyers. No need to get too fancy and draw like 85 cards or whatever. Yep, Figure of Fable does not have reach. It doesn't have the crossbow. All right, cool. Yeah, a little bit of mana issues early. And this is an example where your mana base has to have a lot of non-basics. I mean, you probably still want a reasonable number of basics in current standard because of demolition fields or whatever, but you really don't need more than probably like 4, 5, or 6. And the reason you need the others is because you're playing like Bitter Bloom Bear that needs double black. You're playing the Curiosity that has double blue, right? There's just a lot of colored mana in the cost. Like there's very little colorless mana in these things. So if you want to do 2 things in a turn, you need all the colored mana you can get. So the more multi-lanes you have, the better off you're going to be, just because you don't have to pick and choose what order to do stuff. But overall, yeah, it's what we expected. Dimir Fairy's still a thing. Kind of cool. Yeah, cutting it close. Yeah, it did just a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's see who else we got. William, you already got one. Everybody gets one, just so we don't have the same people putting like 5 decks in the queue. That's always the rule on every stream. You get to post your best option once, and that's it. So anybody else who wants in, we have a little time left still if you want to get in here. Let me grab that link one more time for anybody who wants to hop in. Just go to Discord, go to the standard portion of the server, and post a link to wherever your deck is hosted. I guess I should put it here so it shows up for everybody. There you go. But yeah, Dimir Fairies, still quality, right? I think it's just a matter of which way you decide to go, like how counter heavy, how removal heavy, because the deck's still fairly efficient with your choices. And you obviously hope that you don't run into a bunch of hyper aggro stuff when you get the 2 Bitter Bloom Bearer draw or whatever, right? Because that's always a little tough. Achievement unlock day. I do like how they did the achievements for this set though, where all the cards from the Jumpstart and Commander decks are part of the achievements. So you can do all the things related to Marvel superheroes, and then you can get those cards without having to just like waste a bunch of wild cards on them, whatever, which I thought was pretty neat. Granted, that only really matters if you're playing older formats or if you're playing Brawl or whatever, but it's cool that you can still just get them and they're in your collection, which I like. And they're not crazy. It's like cast 30 heroes, cast 30 villains or whatever, right? Just doing basic stuff. No, nothing wrong with that. I think the expensive fairies are generally not the ones you want to play anyway. I think you chose most of the right ones, really. Like, because while the other fairies like do stuff, the only big fairy I actually like is the one that has the adventure that blinks something. And then there's a 4/4, 'cause I think it's like 4/4 flying vigilance or something. Like that one is actually pretty cool. But the other big fairies, I'm not that keen on really. Let's see. Do we have anybody else in the Discord trying to get a deck list shown? Currently looks like the queue is empty. I will leave that for just a little longer for anybody else who wants to show off a cool pile they've been working on. But yeah, so for those of you that are joining that are regular viewers of the channel, I've over the last few days, I've been shifted from posting at midnight for the videos to having them pre-scheduled to go up at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Has that been a difference for you when they show up on your feed, or have you still been seeing the videos? Because I'm very curious how that affects how people view stuff. Because we have some people that say, you know, they watch it when they wake up before they go to work, or they catch it on their lunch break or whatever. So I'm very curious if that changes how people interact with things. Mentalive says, I haven't brewed anything in 3 months at this point. No spice cooking. Man, we've been playing all kinds of stuff. What are you talking about? A new follower, Matt OJ. Thank you. Yeah, we've been playing all kinds of stuff, man. While we have a moment, we can go dive in. What have we played recently? Yeah, this is all like Angel's deck, Offensive Delirium, like things that we're working on right now. Zoria's Flash, I haven't played yet on the channel. But yeah, we did the Boros Heroes, the Reanimator thing, the Seasons of the Witch deck, which I thought that was the most fun we've played, honestly. The Merfolk deck was pretty cool. Yeah, we've been doing all kinds of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff you can build. Just meant that you have no creative juices over there. I feel you. I feel you. And some of it is like, do you find a card that just like piques your interest, right? That gets you to want to build around it. I think one of the biggest problems with deck building for a lot of people is we get really enamored with individual cards, right? Like we see something like, oh, this is it. I want to build a thing that uses this card. And then we start like trying to justify a bunch of bad cards to make that card work. And then you end up down this rabbit hole where your final product has this problem where if you don't have exactly those 2 or 3 cards together, you just have a card that does nothing, right? You've just played this bad card to justify this other mediocre card. And then even when you get them, it's not a winning combination of things, right? So it's like you did the thing, but then what, right? I've seen decks like, oh, I can make all these tokens. I was like, cool. And then you did nothing and your opponent just played Day of Judgment next turn, right? So it's just like, how are you sustaining that thing over a couple of turns? Are you using it as a win situation immediately? And it's tough because there's a lot of cards I like. Like I think I talked about on the channel, Slime Against Humanity. Legitly has cost me probably 2 days worth of deck, like hours worth, probably about 36 to 38 hours. I've put into that card over the course of a year, maybe going back to that deck and working on it. And the card's just not good. And I've tried so many different ways of like, well, what if I exile stuff? What if I play it with like Insidious Roots? What if I played it with this? What if I play like it's just not, right? So I get it, how that can happen. And like I really want it to work. And every time there's a new card that's like, oh, this might work with it. Like, no. So at this point, I've just given up entirely. Like people are like, hey, have you tried this with slime? Like, nope, not even trying. Just gave up. It just ate up too much time. Let's see. Damian Raleigh says, I'll post my Mardu Siegebreaker Thanos build in a sec. That'd probably be interesting. Now, when I get up, instead of when you post them, you still have a day. Okay. That's good to know. You're super guilty of keeping pet cards. Skyfisher Spider, Tranquil Frillback. Tranquil Frillback was a legit card, though. Quarian Beastcaller, also a legit card. It's some of my favorite. I don't think, like, you can have pet cards and they're still playable and still good. I mean, I like Felidar Retreat, right? We put it in a few different decks. It's still good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Still jamming the Mardu discard deck. Yeah, that card's still good. That deck's still good. I had nothing wrong with that. Yeah, the sideboard is always going to move with the meta. That's a good call for sure. I did that back in the day with Thing in the Ice and Metalwork Colossus. Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. Metalwork Colossus was not a great card. Thinking the ice was actually part of a tournament deck, though, for a minute. Fearless says, I lose a lot of games forcing Aurora Awakener Vivid because I think it's fun one turn kill. Yeah, I think there's ways to do it. We built 2 different decks on the channel, I think, that played that card. And there's ways to do it, but it's very linear, right? You only really have a couple of options. And once you get outside of that, you kind of end in that weird situation of, okay, now it's hard to cast. And then even when I get it, do I have the situation where it wins? So it can be very tough. And I think that's where people get frustrated with the game. And I don't think it's just Magic. I think it's multiple games like that. I think it's where players get frustrated because, and again, I'm somewhat speaking for people, but this is also from having seen people try to build decks over the course of 20 plus years, 16 of those where I was owning a game store, where I think when the thing they think should be possible is not possible, they think there's something wrong with the format. And don't get me wrong, I think this standard format can definitely be too fast at times. Like it has its own issues. But I don't think a lot of times people's argument or perception of what the problem is always accurate. Right? Because they'll get to, well, this card should be playable. It only costs this much. And like, I can't make it work. And every time I get it, I just lose. And, it's just like, okay, but that's where we have to admit that, like, maybe the card's not good. Maybe the deck we put it in isn't good. I've said it before, like, the perception can also be that as creators, we have some magic sauce, right? And you see all these decks we build, whatever. But the truth is, you're not seeing all the decks we have that suck. I mean, I've had days where literally I've sat on my computer and played 6, 7 decks in a row that were just not good, even after messing with each one for a couple hours. And eventually just like, okay, well, I'll at least put this one up because I know I can win games with this one and, it's fine, whatever. And that just happens, right? That's part of the gig. But like we talked about earlier in the stream, if we post the decks that aren't winning, then people just go like, I don't even know why I watch this. This deck sucks. But the reality is that's the best time to learn from something, right? See interactions and understand why a card or a deck doesn't work. As opposed to just, all right, we saw a deck win some games, great. And then people will go copy it and then be mad if they don't replicate the results, which could be for a lot of reasons, right? It could be because you got good matchups, your opponents played terribly or misplayed, or who knows, right? There could be a bunch of reasons. Like you might have just been on a sun run and drawn hotter than hell, right? And that's why. Or even sometimes, and this is one thing I don't think people consider, sometimes play styles are very different, right? If you play a deck that just doesn't fit your play style or your experience level or whatever, you're just not going to get the same results. Like when I was playing really heavily in tournaments, there were times where a deck was generally considered the best deck or one of the 2 best decks. And I opted for the 3rd or 4th best deck because I knew I could play it better. It would keep my attention longer. And, because when you're talking about playing like a Star City Open back in the day, there was going to be over 2 days and each day was going to be like 6 to 8 rounds. And then you might have to play a top 8 or whatever. Like, I just like, let me play the thing that I know I can stay engaged with. And it worked, right? But had I played one of those other decks, I probably wouldn't have done as well. So that's something else to consider as well. You was already playing green white with Ouroborid, Badger Mole, bought a bunch of the cards and gonna try out your Scarlet Witch green. Yeah, Scarlet Witch deck's crazy. And it can be a little tricky deck to play for sure. So get some practice in with that first before you try to go take it into a tournament. There's a link for the Discord. Go into the standard portion, post a link to wherever your decks are hosted, and we will get the deck list from. Nope. You did it wrong. Don't post the deck list. Khabib Neagle, go post the link to where it is hosted. I am clearing that out. Same thing for Ingelo. Same thing. Post a link to wherever your deck is hosted. The reason we do that is when people post deck lists, for whatever reason, multiple times we run into issues because something's not right or it has the wrong formatting or whatever, and then we're just going back and forth trying to make stuff work, and I'd rather not deal with that. So, however, we have a couple people in there, so we're going to go with Gatewatch. Let's see what you got cooking. But yes, repost wherever your deck is hosted. Put the link, the URL to wherever it's hosted, and I will load it up and we will play it. If this is just mono red aggros, there's nothing. Yeah, I'll let you repost something. We're not Well, anything, the rule is always we want to do something different. We don't want to do a thing that everybody's already seen because there's nothing to learn, right? We're just going to play a deck that's already popular, and nobody wants to see a thing that we're already doing. So go ahead, you can post something else. Though weird that you have 76 cards in here. You probably want to clean that up. 76 cards with 20 land is totally insane. So yeah, you can post another one though. People generally forget that you need reps with the deck. Don't expect. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? And for as much as people want to give, and I see people, they get in the comments on several people's comment section on YouTube and complain. But the thing I always have to remind people of, like, one, I already know I'm not going to play perfectly, so I don't worry about it. Like, you can be in there, be mad about it, whatever, don't care. I'll leave the comments. Like, if you're rude, I just block you because there's no reason for you to be like that. But the reality is, you're also talking about creators where we're trying to play with so many cards, and some of those cards we're playing for the first time in a deck list, and that's the only time we're ever going to play with it. So yeah, we're going to make mistakes, right? We haven't played all the scenarios with those cards or whatever. Like, that should be a given, right? And the truth is, I know from experience, a lot of times the people that are talking about you misplayed, you did this and you're terrible, whatever, are also the people that are make their own misplays or whatever, and you'll see them in a tournament and magically they only lost because their opponent drew well or whatever, and whatever. Like, so I don't really worry about it. Again, most players are way worse than they think they are, us creators included. I say that like I kind of know my skill level at this point. Like, I know where my peak was and I am far down from my peak, so like I guess I'm not too worried about it. But the average person is much worse than they think they are at every game. I tried to think of any new Marvel cards would work in this one I posted, and I've been trying to use Zemo, but he's kind of slow. Fair. We'll check that out in a second. How much better do you think a deck can punch up if the opponent isn't used to seeing it? There is some value to that. I don't know how much so now because there's more information available and we play way more games on Arena, which didn't exist when I was doing like hard tournament grinding. But there's a lot of times where your opponent not having experience against the deck can play to your benefit. Actually, a good example is go back 2 Pro Tours back, right? Where we saw the Excruciator deck run pretty strong in the top 8, right? Part of that is because people didn't have sideboards prepared for that strategy or whatever, right? Or were guessing on the lines a little bit on what was their best path or whatever. And they kind of figured it out throughout the weekend. But those early rounds, when they ran into it, there was some gamesmanship of having to figure things out, right? And what you saw with that deck is within 2 weeks, it almost wasn't even around on the ladder anymore, right? You still saw it every once in a while. It was like it completely disappeared, but it went from being like super hot to hardly anybody was playing it. And like I said, around 2 weeks or so, it felt like. And it was just because, like, okay, well, we figured out everybody played around it. They have sideboard cards for it in best of 3 or whatever, and that was fine, right? So that's a good example of how that happens. No, you can put it anywhere. It could be Moxfield, it could be Archidec, it could be Aether Hub, it could be I don't know, wherever. Goldfish, wherever you host deck lists. It could be anywhere. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let me go see who else is already in here though. We have Pi. Do we have 2 Messiahs in here? Oh, y'all. We have 2 pretenders. We have Messiah and Pi Messiah. That's crazy. What are the odds of that? All right, let's see what we got. Let's export, copy, bring this in. Boom. Oh my gosh, what are we going to have to craft for this one? This says Black X Life Game, but there are a bunch of different other colors going on here. This is a lie. What are we missing? Is it just lands? Oh, there's 1 Great Hall. I'll go minus 1 Great Hall and I'll figure it out. So we're doing Duress, Flashback, Strategic Betrayal. I mean, this isn't even black. This is just a control deck with together as one. Yeah. I mean, I'll play a game with it just so people see it, but I've already done something like this. And it was okay. I wasn't a big fan of it. Black, green. Yeah, let's put another overgrown tomb in there. That's fine. Let's go hop in and play with it. Yeah, my thing is, this is literally, and this isn't to insult the deck. The deck's actually reasonable. The thing is, it's really just a control deck playing together as one. And the biggest issue for me is just like, together as one, which is very clunky a lot of the times. Like, it just, not that you can't get it off, it does work, but there's some matchups where it sucks to have in your opener. Happy birthday, Jeffrey Cooper. Hey, thank you so much. You still can't get into the Discord. Oh, it crashes on you. That's weird. Opponent goes first. We'll keep. Hopefully we get to 4 mana without being dead. Let's... how are we going to go about business here? I guess... All right. If you have Badger Mole, you have Badger Mole. So be it. They did not. We gambled correctly. Awesome. You didn't play anything with 2. This entered taps. So I don't think there's a world where we're going to flash back and play Requiting Hex, right? Let's just put this on black. Oh, wait. It might need to be... Yeah, let's just put it on black. We'll be fine. Oh, there's white mana. Oh, they did have a Badger Mole. Gosh dang it. What were the odds of that? That's so funny. They actually did have it. That's fun. Okay, well then. That was so stupid. That's funny that they actually had it, though. Whoa, cancel. Wrong thing. There we go. Hey, David P. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Also, thanks for all you that bought memberships for people and whatnot and super chatted. Much appreciated. Innkeeper's talent. All right. Cool. I guess we go ahead and just give you one of these.
Congratulations.
Oh, can't do that. Can't do that. Darn it. Forgot. It has Ward 1.
The right spell turns poison to medicine.
Sure. Sounds good.
Detention.
Detention, he says.
This will only sting for a moment.
I guess we just deadly cover up. That's kind of silly to do it for just one thing. Actually, we'll pay for it because there may be something that has like bigger hexproof or something that we can't hit later. And this is just Ward 1. That's fine. Oh, it has to be target non-land. Gosh dang it. Okay, I guess I don't have a choice. All right. Do. Ward another grove. Well, that's fair. That's reasonable to try to get rid of that. Now the question is, do they have a protective spell as we try to get rid of it? Because that felt a little bit suspicious.
Take growth.
But I guess we still got to try. Is there a world where I can play this? No, because I still have to pay the ward. All right. Hey, they didn't have anything. Fantastic. Works for us. All right. Linked to Fantastic Four deck. That's fun. There was one I saw that I kind of want to feature that tried to get everything back in the battlefield after Insidious Roots. So that's kind of funny. All right, another Hunter's Talent with nothing on the battlefield. Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna get the emblem, because that's the most important thing.
Consider this your expulsion notice.
All right, and we'll pass. Not sure what the opponent's plan is here, but we're probably just gonna activate a land. Oh, Wild Growth Archaic. I dig it. What else you got for it? Nothing? Oh, that's not going to go well for them. Nope, they wanted to put counters on it first so they can... All right, cool. Respect. That makes perfect sense. All right, well, we're going to have to dig for something. Those are two big old bodies. That is something. I did say dig for something. All right, let's make them get rid of a thing. Decline. Because we'd rather get 2 life. All right, let's go ahead and... We got plenty of life. Let's draw a card before this one goes away. Oh, well, that's sick.
Useful.
Never mind. Let's just do this then. So we don't have to waste the other Delian Fell unnecessarily. Take action. Yep. Opponent sees the writing on the wall. Yeah, this is pretty much what we expected. Like I said, I worked on a version of this before. I think it just felt like nothing wrong. Again, nothing wrong with the deck. The deck's actually good. I just think it felt too much like the 4 or 5 color control decks that are already running around. So, yeah. But I mean, it's a good deck though. All right, let's see what else we got in the Discord. Let's see. Okay. Oh, now we have Omen posted a thing, a Siege Breaker deck. All right. If you're not in the queue now, you're probably locked out because we're probably gonna get through these, and that'll probably be the end of the stream. I think we'll be at the point where if people want to continue the stream or get something looked at, there will be a price. Flashback is such an elegantly designed card. I'm surprised they never printed it before. Yeah, I think it's almost 2. I think it should still cost 2. Honestly, I think costing 1 is a little on the cheap side, but it is a damn good card though. Siegebreaker. What are we making with the Siegebreaker? Reusing Lightstall Inquisitor. Rakshasha, I guess, because it's a big body with trample. Interesting. Okay, let's see what we can get ourselves into here, trouble-wise. Let's see what we got going on. Totally thought it had to have been a reprint. Yeah. Nope, it's definitely not. There's a few cards like that you would think had been around a while, but... if you super chat, we'll see what time looks like at the end of the stream. I try to get through all the individual ones first, and then we'll come back around. More Scarlet Witch deck. The video was fun to watch. Yeah, there's not a lot I can really... Like, the problem is, most of the good stuff to do with Scarlet Witch is already kind of, like, known and obvious. But that's why I built that one, because it was playing with the seasons that nobody plays with, you know? Just was something a little bit different. We'll take 2 so that we can maybe Requiting Hex something. We definitely get to Requiting Hex something. Let them scry first, so they make their decision with less information. I just realized our hand's not doing a lot unless we draw something good. Yeah, Siegebreaker, not super great with Voice of Victory. Timeline color. I'll block. Oh, it doesn't have haste. They played it the other way. Let's just put this in tapped, I guess. I don't know who's more the aggressor here, so I'm just going to sit back. Green beavers, sure. If they attack here, it's going to be very suspicious. Surveil, and then you draw a card and lose a life. Okay. I did say it was going to be very suspicious. I'm not sure what the plan was there. What is Thanos doing in here? Just a big body? All right. So we'll attack on this turn for sure. I'm just debating if we want to play Siegebreaker or not. I think we're just going to attack and play Thanos. Though, I say that. I think we'd probably rather just be more mana efficient and just play the Siegebreaker, actually. And then maybe play two things next turn. So yeah, get over here, Voice of Victory. We don't get the tokens whenever we play it, but that's fine. Sephiroth, you got it. You're not even going to attack for one? You would like to trade for my Siegebreaker? I'll put you to the test. I mean, if they don't, then we just split up for untapped creatures. Yep. All right. So they didn't attack and they didn't block. It's usually not good. Destroy all untapped? Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Do we have anything good for that guy? We don't. I mean, we could play another Voice of Victory. Problem is, well, All right. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, what's Thanos' role? I mean, it is a lifelinker, I guess. So that counts for something. What is this attack about? All right, I guess I'm your Huckleberry. Let's do it. Okay. Feels like that could have been significantly worse than it was. Well, yeah, guess we're attacking. I mean, they're obviously not blocking with the Shredder. I don't even know if I want to put anything under the Voice of Victory. I think I'm just going to play this and just as is. I mean, under the, yeah, submit 0. In the turn. I mean, Thanos under the breaker is fine, but like, it's still, I mean, it's a 4, I mean, nothing wrong. It's a sizable body. I mean, I'm not going to say Thanos is trash. I'm just, we're playing it because it's a 4/4 body with lifelink effectively, right? We're going to sack something. What? Why would you pick up your super shredder? I don't know. The opponent's on one. I don't know what's happening right now, but I guess we're attacking and they're blocking. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dead next turn. I don't know what's happening. Everybody in the pool. We'll let them figure it out. I mean, we drew a bunch of lands anyway, so it just comes with the territory. Yep. And then Shredder's going to do a bajillion damage to us. You only got to find 3 damage. You got 2 cards. Does that do it? I don't think that... Well, creatures get +1/+0, right? Yeah. There you go. Just level it up. Opponent, just level... I guess I have a card in hand. Maybe they're concerned about that. But you just do it and get the win, right? There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think we have quality Siegebreaker targets. That's the bigger issue for me. Like most of the time the creatures we got, I didn't even really want under the Siegebreaker. Like even Thanos, I kind of would rather just have it as a blocker. Right? With Death Touch and Lifelink, I don't necessarily want it tucked under. Like, don't be wrong, like if I'm wanting to protect it from a sweeper or something, obviously putting it under there is better, but like I would rather have stuff that either enters and makes more tokens or deals damage or makes opponent exile a thing or draw cards or whatever, right? I would be looking for more ETB stuff. Every time I've played Siegebreaker, just like start a chain of things that are doing multiple things when they enter, or they're searching for a card, or they're doing a thing, right? Just so every time you attack, the Siegebreaker is a real threat of building the board bigger, I think was a little bit better. Because again, I don't think that any of these cards are particularly bad, right? Lightstall Inquisitor, like it's a little weird that we have just like 1 Burst Lightning, 1 Requiting Hex, like, but that's fine. But like Voice of Victory is obviously a good card. Like Ketramos is solid, especially when you have stuff like being exiled or whatever with Siegebreaker. I don't know if there's enough exiling though. Now that I'm realizing it, like Daydream because you can flashback. Yeah, there's some, but I don't know if there's enough. I would definitely refine this to have more things that are just doing stuff upon entering, and then really, especially if you're going to play a full set of Siegebreakers, I would be trying to take more advantage of that, honestly, more than anything else. But yeah, it's got good cards in it. I don't think the cards are bad. I just think it's just the mix of them aren't necessarily complementing each other super well. Because the other option is, if you don't want to lean in on stuff that really takes advantage of Siegebreaker, then just go hard on the aggressive part, right? Play like 3 Thanos, go up to a full set of 4 Voice of Victory, play more Rakshasas, and then like just hammer it home. You know, we're kind of all over the place a little bit here. Because, you know, like Elspeth and Exalted Sunborn play well with Siegebreaker, which could be kind of fun, right? If we get those. So I kind of dig what's going on there. But yeah, there's a few different things I think just needs to be cleaned up. This, again, it's kind of the theme of the night, as a lot of decks are just, hey, just got to be more focused. We just got to clean stuff up. Phyrexian Flesh Scourger, that's fun. Yep. Let's see. Who do we got next up in here? We have, actually, Snapple Rome, you came in late, so Angelo is the last one. So we'll see where we are at the end of the stream before we take donations to extend stream. Let's see. So Gatewatch resubmitted, right? If I'm not mistaken, because I believe you had the mono red deck earlier. So we'll take a look at this. What do we got going on? Oh, I'm gonna have to craft something for this. What do we got? Demir, Flash, and Mill. You're gonna do this to us on the stream, bro. I love you, buddy. But really, we're just gonna play Singularity Rupture River Turn Monument deck? That's what we submitted? That's what we're doing? Okay. All right. All right. I will tell you, I am going to have zero fun playing this on a stream. Says I converted this over from a planar standard deck I built, so I didn't have much of an opportunity to tune it with newer stuff. There's really not much to play in this list, unless you want to play the, what is it, like the O2 that when you target the opponent's stuff, they mill 2 cards or whatever. I don't think there's really much else to play. Oh, you're talking about the other deck from earlier. Yeah, the scan from Prototypes, the other deck. Yeah, I feel you. Because you resubmit, let me see. Can I? I'm gonna play one less Kitsune's technique. I'll use my last rare on this, and I'll just let it be 60 cards. I'm going to do this because I promised I would do it, but I'm hoping this is over quickly. Yeah, I would just max. I agree. I would just max out your River Turn monuments, though. Like, in all seriousness, like if you're gonna mill, just max out the sweeper, max out your River Turns, because it's really just a 2-card combo, right? You just get to a point where you can fire that off. Then the next turn you drop the River Turn and then just win. So I would definitely go harder on that. I think there are fun ways to play mill. I just, for my money, unfortunately, I think we made a card that just says, like, lose half your library, and then the other card cost you the rest of your library. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really playing an interactive mill situation. That's just playing 2 cards and the game's over, you know? Vessel? Yeah, you get a vessel, I guess. This isn't doing much. We're probably gonna have to draw and discard, sadly. All right, so we really had to find land, unfortunately. Discard one of these. We're giving away the secret there, but that's fine. Yeah, Tide Caller Mill is the one I was thinking about. It's basically just mono blue, and then you just target your opponent a bunch, mill their stuff, and then you still have the River Turn Monument finish. That's the one that's going around, and it's a little bit more budgetish too for a lot of people, which is good. We have to assume they have a removal spell of some kind, right? Or are they just gonna pay Tiny Bones and make us discard a card? I wouldn't be opposed to that. Vampire Nighthawk, sure. And a Silver Tongue. All right. Do for 2. And we get what? 1 card off that, I believe. And I will just block this guy, because that makes the most sense. And we'll play this tapped on blue, I suppose. Actually, do we need it tapped? Let's see. We have 2, 4. Yeah, we only have 5 mana anyway. In the best case scenario, we're going to play 2 Bitter Triumphs, so sure. And I don't even think we're really going to do that necessarily. But we'll see. Each opponent discard card activate as a sorcery, sure. You can have... Well, I don't even think it matters about Kitsune's tech. I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine. You got it. Sure, that gets a 5/5. Is that what that is? 2 counters on it. Comes back as a 4/3. Sure. And then we'll block. And then I think we just combo, right? Because this just costs 1, 2. No, there's the land we needed. All right. Nope, nope. They have a blocker. Well, let's test the water first. See if they're willing to block. Because it's 2 and then 2 and 4. Is there a way we die next turn? 4, 5, 6. Not really. There's no way we're losing that. Yeah, the music on this map is pretty epic. Oh, they have something. Let's see what we got. Nope, they don't have anything. All right, cool. Then I guess we're going to try to sneak. Target opponent mill. Can I not target them? Oh, weird. For some reason, it wouldn't let me for a second. All right. They're playing mono black, so I think I just go ahead and just play the River Churn Monument. And then pass. And we can just discard Bitter Triumph, or the Singularity to the Bitter Triumph. And we're probably good. I just played the Monument just in case they drew like Duress or something. Emeritus of Woe, sure. Doesn't really matter much here. Yeah, I mean, we'll kill something just for sport. But I don't think it ultimately matters. All right. And then we activate Monument. Target you. And that's it. Okay. All right. There you go. We did the thing. But yeah, I think that's my problem with it, right? It's not really an interactive deck. You kind of just play 2 cards at some point, and that's kind of the thing. And I don't blame anybody for doing it. The cards exist. You know, that's my whole thing. Is like, they exist. You're allowed to play them. So I don't ever fault the players for doing it. It's the same thing with like the black decks of like, lose half your life, and there's like 3 different ways to make somebody just insta lose, right? It's like, but they exist. People are going to play them. I don't fault anybody for doing it. And for some people, that is fun magic. I don't hate mill decks. Like I said, I'm down for it. I just like my mill decks to be a little bit more interactive. But let's try this Fantastic 4 list from Fearless, I believe it is. Just as guilty. Dumbergridge combo players are playing combos, but I get why it might not be the most compelling gameplay to record. Yeah, absolutely. There's decks I've played, even just laddering and doing stuff, that I won't make videos for because I know they're not fun videos for people to watch. Why are there 75 cards? Because these don't even look like sideboard cards. So this isn't a mistake. This list is 75 cards. With only 24 lands. And we're playing Jeskai Revelation. With only 2 copies of each of the Fantastic 4. And no ramp spells. I mean, I guess technically there's a collector's vault. tablet, but we can't cast any creatures with it. We can only... Oh, man. And we're playing Enduring Innocence with Bristly, but what are we... I don't know what's happening here. like I don't even think I could play this because I don't... Like, I get kind of where we're going, right? We're playing a couple copies of each of Fantastic Four, and we're trying to Turtles Forever so we get them in hand, and then hopefully, I guess, resolve a Worlds Within so we can put them all from our hand and try to combo out, which that part I'm with. But there's a lot of other things just taking up space in here that, like, why there's only one Smuggler Surprise, I don't know. Like, this deck doesn't seem like a Jennifer Walters Spectacular Spider-Man type situation. Vinwix doesn't have a purpose because we shouldn't be worried about our hand size. Half the time we're discarding stuff to Collector's Vault if things are going well. Most of the non-Fantastic Four were sideboard. Oh, I couldn't even begin to guess what would have been there then. I guess Enduring Innocence kind of works because Human Torch is only 2 power. Yeah, April O'Neil is just not a good Magic card. I would recommend not playing this in general. Like, we had some discussion about this when the set came out and we were doing our top 10 overrated, underrated. There were so many people that were excited about this card, and I just couldn't bring myself to understand why people... It was one of those cards where people were excited about it, but then when you ask people, okay, cool, what type of deck are we building with it? Nobody had an answer. So anytime that's the case, the card's usually not that good, right? Because if a card's really good, we immediately think of 3-4 ideas, or at least one really good idea with the card. This is one where nobody had an idea, and I think for 4 mana, a 1/5 is just not it, right? You have so many other things you need to be casting in this list that I wouldn't even worry about it. Resonating Loop makes sense because you're trying to cast Instants and Sorceries, so I don't fault you there. I feel like there's a way we could do this. But here's what I would say. I would try to decide... Because here's the thing, again, focus. Again, I think this is going to be a recurring theme for the rest of the stream, and for all stream it has been, right? If our goal is to try to do the Fantastic Four thing, which, this is a cool idea, and I think I could even build a deck trying to do this. I think it would be a neat thing. I think you have to take out all this other stuff that's trying to be like a Jeskai Revelation whatever deck, or just go in on being a Jeskai Revelation deck. Right? Because, like, Wan Xing Tong doesn't really belong here. Absolute Virtue doesn't really belong here. Right? It's just like, you'd rather have more goofy things to be doing the stuff you're trying to do, right? Another Thor, maybe, because you do have a lot of Instants and Sorceries, and being able to replay some of them could be useful. But, like, I would say Jennifer Walters, Spider-Man, Vinwix, Bristly Bill. Collector's Vault makes sense. I don't fault that. Maybe Captain America, because it can give your stuff protection. Kind of, sort of, on Enduring Innocence, because it's not really what you're trying to do, but you do have a Fantastic Four character that triggers from drawing a card. So, there's that. Tablet makes sense, because you have expensive spells. Aang doesn't really fit, so Aang could go, Biza could go. Turtles Forever I get, because you're going to try to get the other Fantastic Four members that aren't in your hand or whatever. April can go. Captain Marvel can go. Jeskai Revelations could probably go. Absolute Virtue can go. Wan Xing Tong can go. I would start there and then just build stuff up for protection, counters, and ways to get your Fantastic Four. And just make the deck about that is what I would do. Or get the mana so you can cast all the stuff, right? Because everything else, I think, is just extraneous that doesn't really fit your goal. Like, I can't think... Because I'm sitting of, like, what draws do I want that have any of those other... Like, if they're not drawing, protecting, or getting the Fantastic Four, I don't think I ever want them in my hand. Right? Because we're not really going to do anything with Bristly Bill. Spectacular Spider-Man at least makes sense, but, like, this isn't the type of deck where you're trying to be aggressive and get a Spectacular Spider-Man, right? You just try to do everything you can as best you can. Worlds Within, unfortunately, is a sorcery. I think the biggest problem this deck's going to have, no matter how we end up cleaning it up, is that in a world where the control decks are so prevalent, it's going to be hard to resolve your key spells. Right? Because your key spells are basically Turtles Forever and Worlds Within Worlds. And I don't know how we resolve that ultimately. I mean, hell, it may be a situation where a couple of Jeskai Revelations get to stay. I don't know. But yeah, this is a tough one. Yeah, I don't know if it needs both tablet and loot. Maybe it needs just loot because we're trying to play so many colors. Yeah, this one needs a lot of refining. We're trying to do way too much, and I just see too many hands you're going to draw where pieces just don't work well together. So yeah, this one I'm gonna say I like the idea, right, as a cool way to try to get the Fantastic Four onto the battlefield, especially with Worlds Within Worlds, right? Because you're just like, hey, I'm gonna put them all down at the same time. Hopefully it works, right? And I dig that. But I think just all these other cards taking up space is not going to help you get there. So yeah, I think that's my ruling on this one. I think I'm going to pass because we're just going to be kind of clunky and it's going to be hard trying to figure out what shouldn't be in here or whatever. I think we're too far from the mark with this collection of things. I do like it though. I like the idea. It's the second interesting idea I've seen about how can we get the Fantastic Four on the battlefield, right? This is one way to do it. Like I said, I have another one I saw that I'm probably going to feature in a couple days that gets them out of the graveyard in an Insidious Roots type deck, which is pretty cool. But this is a different way to go about it. I just think it needs a game plan somewhere between turn 1 and turn Worlds Within Worlds, right? So when we get to this, you have a chance for it to resolve and actually do something, right? I think is the problem. Because otherwise, we're really kind of just dirtling around with a bunch of cards that don't really do anything or they're overcosted. Because that's the other problem too, right? Each of your Fantastic Four cards are overcosted for what they are, right? You're paying 4 mana for a 2/4 with reach. You're paying 3 mana for a 3/2, right? You need them to do more, but they don't do anything unless they have each other. So that's kind of the tough thing. Yeah, I like the idea though. In all seriousness, I do like it as a concept. I just think we got to clean it up and figure out how to get there. And it may be also like, are we just playing more copies of each of the cards, right? Our key cards. And that's it too. Whether you decide you want loot or you want tablet, that should be 4, right? There should be 4 collector's vaults so we can dig. Maybe 3 of each Fantastic Four member, I don't know. Or 3 of the cheaper ones and 2 of the more expensive ones. Just so you're not completely leaning on Turtles Forever to get them into your hand, right? There's going to be a lot of that I think you're going to have to test and figure out. But credit, because like I said, it's at least the second most interesting thing I've seen as far as how to get them onto the battlefield. So I'm here for it. Let's see. Fearless, why did you post in there again? I don't know, but either way, I'm deleting that other post. All right, we have Khabib the Eagle. What do you got for us, Khabib the Eagle? You were in there before the cutoff, so we will take a look at this. Hey, Stella, how's it going? Johnny's probably the only one that would fit in standard or read at the least, but still, yeah. But the goal is you kind of need to be playing them all together, right? Or you're not really going to be worth playing. Yeah, this is just the 5-color control deck. I mean, I guess technically this one's 4 colors, not playing green for the what you called the cornucopia or whatever. But yeah, This is one I just am going to give a thumbs up. It's a good deck. We're not going to feature it. I mean, it's playing Pyromancer's Goggles, which is sweet, different card, but this is basically the control deck everybody's playing against of some variety, right? Difference is you're playing Death to Our Enemies, which is pretty cool, but yeah, I think we're going to pass on this one. This is just a control pile. It's close enough to a deck we've already seen that I don't think we're learning anything from featuring that one. But I bet it's a good deck. I don't think that's really a question. It's playing all the good cards. It should probably do well. This is from Angelo, and that was the last one, and then Turd of Prey got to resubmit. So we will have Turd of Prey after this one. And then anything further, if people want to feature stuff, those will be paid features to extend the stream. A lot of controlled plays, death to enemies. I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a thing they play. I mean, it's another way to get to a win condition for sure. Wow. Tablet, Verdict Core, Deadly Cover-Up. What's everybody just submitting control? This is literally just another control deck, right? Like, we're just, for some reason, it plays Excruciator. I don't get that part, but yeah, this is just another control deck. We're just playing Capstone and Jessica's Revelations. Like, I mean, again, I don't think this is bad. I mean, we can rock a game with it. But these all feel like things we have seen. We're not doing wild that it plays Cavernous Souls. Why does it play Cavernous Souls? Actually, I guess for Demon. Sure. I mean, I guess that makes sense against the control stuff. Interesting that there's a Rakdos in here. Anybody from the top cards of the player's library until next insert. I mean, well, yeah, together as one seems unnecessary. But hey, let's go play a couple games with it. Hidden Layer with 7 base. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna make another swamp. Let's go. I don't know. I still run into different things. I also play a lot of different things on the ladder, though. All right. I mean, we've seen Doomsday, Excruciator. Like, this is just a different way to do the same thing, I mostly get excited when we do this so we can see people's new, different, whatever decks. Okay. I mean, we'll gamble. Let's do it. Probably a bad idea, but we'll see. We have 2 turns to draw a third on tap lane. All right, you at least do something in the meantime. Kind of. Scene of the crime. Oh, well, that's bad. All right. Well, we got to draw some lands. Tarian's Journal. That card was kind of hot for a minute on the ladder. There were a lot of people messing around with it. And then, all right. GG's opponent. We'll move on and we'll try again. I'm not going to waste the opponent's time. We'll try again. I mean, it happens. I gambled. I keep a hand with 2 land. Like, we give ourselves a few draws. We'll see if we get there. If we don't, we don't. Like, sometimes you gamble and it doesn't get there. You play aggro of some sort. I seem to have this liking to red as of late. I felt complimenting my game style. Nothing wrong with that. All play styles are valid. The cards are legal. You might as well play with them. Yeah, I think what I was getting at though, when I was looking at the deck list, is that it feels like we're just taking a longer route to do what the Doomsday Excruciator decks already do. Like if again, I could be wrong, but it feels like we kind of tried to reinvent the wheel for no real reason. Like we have examples of where it already works, you know? It's kind of the same way when people say, like, why don't you use this card or why don't you feature this card in your videos? It's like, well, I'm not going to be doing anything original, and I don't want to waste y'all's time either, you know? If it's just going to be more of the same, it's like, I can play something else. Oh, I've never clicked on Cap Shield. That's crazy. It just floats and then goes back in the ground. Wow. Here comes the Hell Squad heavy. Yep. So this is mono red counters or tokens. Okay. Yeah, I guess we just go ahead and get rid of everything. But yeah, I'm just looking at this hand. It's like, we just don't need Rakdos or whatever for this deck to work. Enduring Innocence. You got it, friend. If we play this... Yeah, alright. Let's do that. Then we'll just play Watery Grave. Play one of the Rakdos. If it dies, it dies. We'll accept it. Oh, keep clicking and the shield spins. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, you can just spin it as much as you want. Oh, whoa, what? That's crazy. I 100% didn't know that was a thing. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, I'll block. Like, if you get rid of my Doomsday, so be it. They're probably just going to Lightning Helix it or something. Lightning Strike? Sure. Oh, Burst Lightning. Oh, gonna double Burst Lightning? Wow. I mean, I guess you got to get rid of it, but... And Torch. Oh, fair. Same thing. All right. See what you got. Sure, you got a War Leader's Call. I mean, if you attack, you draw a card. Like, seems fine. Angelo, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you, like, this is literally what every version of Excruciator does. That's all I'm saying. Is like, there's not really a difference of anything here other than just a different way to do things. And then we sack to this thing, right? Yeah. Do. Yeah, this is fine. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's just a different way to mill. I mean, you can play Excruciator with anything that makes your opponent mill a couple of cards, you know? But yeah, it's not bad. I think this is the case, like, the deck's obviously good. It's playing a bunch of good cards. It's playing the proper removal. It's playing the Demon Shell, right? So we know the deck's good. Don't stay up too late. Oh, it's all right. I don't have to get up early tomorrow, so we're good. Though Wednesday just tend to be my busy day. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad deck by any means. I don't know, like, as an excuse to play Rakdos, cool. You know, but, like, we're going crazy with the lands to play like Jeskai Revelation and Thor, and like the deck, like you don't really need all that. The deck's fine without it. Like you're gonna win a lot of games just from doing mostly the mono black stuff and then just finishing with Doomsday. You know what I mean? That's all I'm really getting at. It's like we're playing a lot of stuff for style points, but it's just not really necessary. Like we see these decks win regularly without those cards. We're just taking the long way to get there in some cases. All right. That was in Jello, and then we had Turd of Prey got to resubmit, right? So let's take a look at what we got. Copy. And let's see what we got going on. This is a Bant colored pile. Cutzel's Flanker, Pinnacle Star Cage, Cornucopia. What? See, this is wild. Like, what are we doing here? All right, so we're ramping with World Wagon. We've got Twining Twins for some reason, so that we could blink something, probably Riddler. Or Wistfulness, technically, I guess. If we play it, then we can use that to flicker something. Okay. Star Cage. I don't know if I love Star Cage as our early creature removal. What is... But I get where we're going with Daydream and Quantum Riddler. And all right, cool. I see what we're doing. What are some of the decks I really hoped would work but just didn't get there? Not too many. Mostly because you can usually, or at least I feel like for the most part, if you build a lot of decks, you can mostly get a feel for what's not going to work a lot of the time. So you sort of know pretty early. I was talking earlier, the one thing that really ate up a lot of my time, though, was Slime Against Humanity. That's probably my one card that I've not been able to make work. I guess we'll keep this, because we have a Get Lost, and if we find an untapped land, we could play World Wagon. There we go. Now we just have to hope we don't get wrecked too much in the meantime. Because now we need a white land for Pinnacle Star Cage. Wow, opponent kept a hand where they played Pollinator and nothing? That feels like a gift. Actually, maybe I should have put a stop during their upkeep. Like, do I want to kill a Pollinator? If they're not... What are they waiting on? Oh, Paw Patch Recruit. Can we draw an untap? I don't think we're going to do anything. We're just going to try to draw an untapped white land. Or maybe Flicker or Wistfulness or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Actually, I can't even Flicker or Wistful. I guess I could. I could search for green. A blue land. That doesn't do anything for us. Let's go ahead and just go get a Plains. And hope we don't die to, I'm assuming Ouroborite or something this turn. Actually, I guess we wouldn't. Oh, no, we need another white land. Well, that's not going to work at all either way. Okay, so that kind of sucks. Well, that feels like they have a defensive spell there. Because why would you not just have attacked for the extra one? This needs 4 to cruise. That's not going to be big enough. Obviously, we're still going to play Star Cage, but then they could get rid of Star Cage, get back their 2 little knuckleheads. Then what do we do after that? I mean, we Riddler to block. We could just play a big Wistfulness. But they're bound to have something. I think we have to still just Star Cage and just not be happy about it. Oh, they're going to road their own thing. That's interesting. And they eroded the one that would have been under the star cage. They didn't even like erode the token. What is that about? Oh, you know why? They have the practiced offense, I bet. Damn. Well, if we think they have practice offense, I guess our best play is just wistfulness to go draw cards, I guess. Because they can deal 12 without pumping. Golly, we can gain life. I'm trying to think how we get out of trouble from here. All right, let's go find a land. There's a chance we're losing this anyway, so we might as well get something out of it. Let's get... We have another island in hand already. We only need 2 white sources at most. I guess it doesn't really matter. All right. Let's hope we're not dead. Oh, no, we are dead, because they have 5 mana. They can just do it twice. No, that's 14. That won't be enough. We'll be at 1. If they have it. Oh, and they didn't get rid of either of our cards. Interesting. Wow. 2, 4, 6. That is a good number to have. But why didn't you play some... Actually, you know what? I'm going to play the island first. Just so we could potentially counter if necessary. An Aven Interrupter. All right, well. We knew this was a possibility. All right. And then I think we're mostly good for a turn. The next turn, we can at least cornucopia, get some life off of that and this. That only deals 5, right? Yeah, sure. You have another one? No. I don't know what's going on here. I don't want to give up the Riddler, though. And I have more toughness on a World Wagon. And then we get to block. Are we good? Oh, maybe it's just another Leatherhead in hand or something. Llanowar Elf. And that's it. All right, cool. Was not expecting that. Okay. That is quite a difference. Let's attack. We have 2, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm just going to leave that alone because we can get rid of something and we can flash in a flanker. Yeah, that's fine. What's that last card? I will scry and take some life. Because that seems good. Oh, we'll definitely take a stock up. All right. Bloxies. That works. Okay. Let's play the Twining Twins. Sure. You got it, I guess. I just get to play it cheaper next turn. Fine. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 7. All right, never mind. I'm just gonna play a full size Riddler. We have enough life that we're probably good to go regardless. And they know the twins are coming. Yep, cool. Do. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. I dig it. That's a good way to do a blink deck. I'd be curious what other cards we could fit in here because it's also missing some of the like usual suspects of the Aven Interrupter, Aang, stuff like that. But pretty cool. I don't know if this is a doppelgang deck, really. This feels more like a blink value deck. So I would probably be leaning on that a little bit more. But overall, kind of a cool pile of stuff. I dig what it's doing. Let's see. I'd put at least 3 restoration magic in every deck I play nowadays. That's actually kind of funny. Can't say I blame you. Could have crewed the Riddler before flickering it too. Yeah, I could have. That's true. Ended up not really being necessary. Thanks for playing the deck. It's a work in progress. Oh, from Angelo from your deck earlier. Yeah, hard to determine what's win more and what to replace the big spells for. Like I said, yeah, that's like kind of one of the things. Yeah, I don't think that's a Zemo deck at all. Because you need a bunch of black pips. I don't think that deck's really necessary. I don't think you need to be doing that. I think that deck can work. I mean, you do obviously have a bunch of black cards, but I just don't think Zemo's a card you really need. You're going to win so many other ways from either just beating with the room, draining their life with the demons, Excruciator, getting rid of their library, whatever. Like, you could play Zemo as just like, I guess if everything goes sideways, it could be your plan B. I guess. Wouldn't be the worst thing, but I think you're going to be fine without it anyway. Yeah, Dr. Doom's a pretty sweet card. I don't mind that either. I think that's kind of a fun one. Get you 3 blockers at the very least. Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting overall. At least the bad deck did its thing. It did indeed do its thing. I agree. That was actually an interesting one. And like I said, I've considered doing some blinky stuff like that. A couple of different card choices, but overall the strategy is sound, right? Obviously works. So like, no hate there. Did exactly what it was meant to do. Yeah. I think that is, did we get everybody that was in the queue? I think we did. Yeah. Everybody up to Turd of Prey was already in. So yeah, anything else at this point, it's membership or a sub to extend the stream and get the decks looked at this point. Because we have been going for a few hours now. But yeah, man, this was fun. This is why I like doing these types of streams where we get to see kind of what y'all are working on, right? There's a lot of cool stuff out there on the ladder that I think it's easy to get caught up in, like everybody's playing the same thing and running into the same stuff, but there's still some fun ideas and things out there. And even, you know, like we saw with like Demir Fairies, right? It's an older deck that's still playable that you don't see a lot, right? So that's kind of cool. The quirky deck with the soul stones and the zoetic glyphs or whatever, right? Like that's a fun one. That's one I'll probably end up doing something similar later. I think it's very fun. Whoa, a big super chat there from Barry Drake. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. Thanks for spending your birthday evening with us. Yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun. You know, it's kind of one of the reasons I like going to events, because I actually get to meet y'all in person, right? Because when we look at stuff online, all we see is numbers, right? We just, there's no faces to them. So when we do live streams and stuff, it's a chance to actually interact with y'all. You know, don't get to see you, but we at least get to have some level of interaction. You know, thank you for the stream, for showcasing different brews. I had fun watching. Surprised not seeing any equipment decks. Yeah, there's a few that pop up from time to time. Hey, thanks for that, by the way. New follower. I feel like we've seen most of what we could do with equipment at this point, though. I think Jane Foster was a huge upgrade in a lot of ways for the equipment decks. Otherwise, it's kind of just, it's either red, white, or red, white, blue. And I think we've kind of picked out what the good cards are already at this point. So I think that's probably why we didn't see a lot of people submit them. I feel like if you play equipment decks, we've mostly, I won't say we peaked, obviously. I think they could still be refined. But I think it's now just like dialing in the numbers more than anything else. And then in some cases, like a lot of decks, it's finding a spot in the metagame where you fit, right? And you don't always fit all the time. It's as things shift to being, say, like more Selesnya aggro, then maybe some of the equipment decks can start having a little bit more room, right? Because you can play Mjolnir and the chainsaw and whatever, right? And that helps those matchups. But when we're on the side where it's more mid-range and control stuff, or is it piles, then the equipment decks aren't going to be as good. Oh, excuse me, going to be as good. So some of that is just figuring out when you can and can't try to go for it with certain decks too. And that's hard to recognize, right? There's all you can do is just, you know, look at the ladder, look at tournament results, look at Melee or magic.gg when they post deck lists, you know, stuff like that to kind of just know what people are doing for the most part. Because that's really what we do as creators is just like, we just look at every single source we can find and see what's going on with Magic Online results and whatever to just have a feel for it. And then, of course, because we put in a lot of time, we just see all the decks people are playing against us and just make decisions based on that because you can't really do much of anything else. But there's definitely room to play a lot of different decks. I think as we saw today, like of the decks we saw today, I would say probably the Zoetic Stones deck is probably one I would mess around with a little bit. I think the Blink deck of some variety, even if it's different card choices, I think would be really cool. And I should probably come back to something with Siegebreaker. I don't know what it would look like yet, but, you know, some Siegebreaker thing. Kami says they want to show another deck. Yeah, sure. Go ahead and post it into the Discord, and we'll take a look at it. Really wanted some form of strong Ares deck, but it feels too slow. I haven't gotten around to messing with Ares, to be honest. I think I read it and went, this is going to take some time to figure out. And I think that's why I just kind of, but I'll bring it up for people who may not have seen the card. Do I even have one crafted? Yeah, I do. Ares God of War. There it is. So there's a 3-mana 4/3, and on its face, good stats, right? Attack, siege, combat, if able. Whenever attacking creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand. We had another card like this a while ago. Was it like Norin the Wary or something? It was the 2/1 that when your opponent blocks, you can choose to put it back in your hand or whatever. And that didn't really see a lot of play, like in 1 or 2 decks. And I think the thing with Ares is you'd have to really figure out what is good enough that you're willing to lose tempo for, right? Because if you play something, say turn 1, turn 2, you play Ares on 3, you attack, and now you pick those up, like what are they doing when they leave the battlefield or enter the battlefield that's big enough to make it worth it? And I think that's where I'm like, I'm gonna have to make a whole list. Why has it not been successful? Super Shredder deck with Voice of Victory and Ares maybe? Well, here's the problem, right? Super Shredder wouldn't be around long enough. You would have to never attack with it. Right? Because as soon as you attack, I guess it has to die, I guess, to return to your hand. So I guess that's fair. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, what do I want returning to really make it worth it? I don't know what that looks like. Or maybe there's some weird world where you're playing like Ares and what's her name? The one that returns creatures from your graveyard. So then like nothing ever dies. Right? Like if something somehow ends up in your graveyard, it's like, okay, cool. We're just going to keep cycling cards one way or the other. That could be kind of funny. And what happens if Ares came with haste? He would just have haste, I guess. Ares Siegebreaker deck. So Siegebreaker attacks. You make a copy of Ares, I guess. That doesn't really do anything, though. because the token just dies, you know. I mean, I guess you could always try one. You need to run lots of haste things, Aries, lots of ETBs, or Rot Curse, Rexasha. Yeah, I don't know. Because, like, I mean, maybe there's a thing that you can discard cards from your hand to take advantage of it. Maybe that's a thing. I feel like there's got to be something. I just don't know what it is. Yeah, Ares Frostcliff Siege. Like, maybe. I don't know. But here's the thing, though, right? Like, but at that point, is Ares the best thing you could play, right? If you're already going to be giving everything haste, why would you not Ares to just be, I don't know, Thanos, right? Just have a 4/4 with lifelink and death touch, and it has haste, right? So, like, is that just better? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, are there just, because this is where I got stuck when I looked at Ares. I was just like, this is going to take a lot more thought and planning to build this deck. So I just haven't gotten around to it. And I'm sure there's a way. I just don't know. And here's the other thing, too. The thing to remember is not every card is going to be great in the set it releases in, right? We have multiple cards that 2 or 3 sets later, something comes out and we're like, oh, now this is where this card goes. You know, so there might be something else that, like, every time a creature enters the battlefield, something crazy happens. Or when a creature returns to your hand, something weird goes down. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and if so, you're going to come back to Ares and be like, this is the card. But that could be a year from now. That could be 2 years from now. It could be never. Right? Like, we don't really know. I have no clue. Yeah, that's exactly it too, right? It could just be a sacrifice design where you're just like, sack a thing, it returns, and you replay it and sack it and replay it and sack it. Maybe that's the thing, right? One of the ones that just makes a token every time it dies, and you just keep sacking it to Umbral Caller Zealot or something or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's it. It's like, it could just be that simple. I don't know. But I'm sure there's a thing there. I just don't know what thing is just yet. But anyway, let's take this other look at this deck that Kami submitted, which is, it says it's mono white in standard. So what type of mono white deck do we have? Because that could be a lot of things. We've seen many, many, many different mono white decks. So we have Descendant of Storms, card that fell off real fast. People tried this when Tarkir Dragonstorm came out, and it just went away. Veteran Survivor, Warden of the Inner Sky, Lumen Class Frigate, Spider-Man. Yeah, here's the thing. If you have the wild cards, just play 4 practiced offense. Seriously, if you're just doing an aggro deck and can reasonably splash white, just play practice offense. The card is, far as I can tell, the best aggro card that's been made in a while. Like, literally, y'all watch the videos. A number of games we've won just because we had like 1 creature and 5 mana was like, okay, we're attacking with a 5-power creature, it's dealing double strike and lifelink or whatever, right? And that's it. The other thing I will say is if you're going to play mono white right now, and I'm still going to play this deck for a game, don't be wrong, we're getting to that in a second. But I think if you're going to play mono white or predominantly white heavy, your options really are life gain, some version of something with the heroes, or the mono white auras. I think those are just going to have better win rates than any other combination of mono white aggro stuff we're putting together. Right? You don't even hardly see the Momo and the 2/4 that, like, you play your second spell, make tokens or whatever. Like, that thing's largely fallen off, right? Because the other decks are just more efficient at doing the things they're doing. You still see it every once in a while, but even that was a known tournament deck that almost doesn't show up anywhere anymore. So I sort of get that vibe that this feels that way, that we're making other choices for actually, matter of fact, I'm gonna cut a Suki and just put the other practice offense in there. A lot of creatures though, which is good. Arguably this could also play the 2/4 to just give you other options, but we'll see. Let's go see what we got. Nizahan has a great list of cards that got good later. That's true. Guess it might work with some of the SOS lore hold things that leave the grave synergies. Maybe. That's a possibility. Thanks for all the insight tonight. I really appreciate your teaching while playing and looking at decks. You're awesome. I try. Magic's way more difficult than people give it credit for. Comes has been experimenting with different amounts of practice offense. Frigate works better with voice. Practice offense, the answer is always 3 or 4. Like, I'm literally at the point that, like, I will not tolerate any slander against that card. If you think less of it, you probably haven't played it enough. that's literally where I feel. Like, the card has just been so bonkers good. Like, and not even close. That card is unreal good. Oh, I'm losing. Oh, nope, there's a duress. We lose a get loss. I thought they were going to kill our veteran survivor. Oh, that's a good pickup. And it lets us use our mana efficiently. Love that. Give me that. There's a tap sub theme in this deck as well. Interesting. I don't know if that's a thing I would be spending time on. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong about how good it is. Opponent? I'm assuming you have removal for Suki, because you're playing mono black. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat? You do get an Inspector, which is sad, because we could have drawn a card. We could still draw a card if we really want to. But I'll wait on this. Yep. Okay, that'll do. Yeah, that's just Suki attacking. Yeah, I think splashing for flashback is a bit much. I don't think we need to do that. Yeah, Suki's just a generally good card. I think Suki's underplayed, honestly. Just because, like, if you're playing enough other quality early things, you put your opponent kind of in this vice of like, well, I want to get rid of this other thing, but Suki's also pumping the team, so I got to get rid of that. But then I'm also going to give them a token, so it's just like, you know, like, really useful card though. I'm a big fan of Suki. But yeah, obviously, you're beaten down. This deck's good. I don't think there's anything wrong with this one, honestly. I think it is mono white. I think we talked about it when we opened the stream, actually, talking about budget decks, right? I think if you were going to play in paper and build a deck today to play at your local store, like, you're either doing mono black aggro, mono red, or some version of mono white, right? That's where you're going to be able to get in for the lowest amount of money. All right. This should be a slower draw, right? Lumen Kalas Frigate. We'll probably just play this and crew up. Exactly. Using flashback on it is worse than just using the actual flashback ability. I agree. All right, I'm just going to play this, and we're going to start prepping our spacecraft. Next turn is probably just play Descendant of Storms and draw a card. Oh, what are you doing, opponent? Origins of Spider-Man, sure. So they are doing the auras pile, it appears. I'm assuming that goes on human. Are we losing a voice of victory this turn? I'm going to assume the answer is yes. So I'm going to tap this. And then they get to choose. You take our voice of victory or you take our frigate. Your call. but they're likely doing it with a shelter by Ghost either way. That's not true. They could seam rip. But it is a shelter by Ghost. What's your option? All right. And this is why I left the Descendant of Storms back, because they're not attacking unless they have a pump spell. Okay, so they're basically telegraphing they have a pump spell, right? So do we just want to make them use it, is the question. We can attack for, what's the most? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they're going to be at 22. So we put them down to 12, and then we're taking double strike for at least another 8. Probably more. I guess we just have to let it through. Don't love it, but is what it is. But yeah, I think they absolutely have the instant speed +1, get hexproof, whatever. Because otherwise, it doesn't make sense to attack there. And the pauses and everything else, right? So it's got to be what it is. Okay, seam rip. You were not bad, because we can get rid of the enchantment without targeting the token. So let's do that. Now, we can get into the silly game of like seam rip or seam rip and whatever, but if they do, they do, right? We can't worry about that. Yeah, let's just attack. I mean, they could also have another shelter or whatever. I mean, there's a bunch of ways it could go. Like, it's just one of those things. If they have it, they have it. Kudos to you. We take a bunch of damage. Yep. As I said, not a surprise. Like, I expected that. Oh, they're not taking... Oh, do they have another one? No, there's a Healer's Hawk. What? Really? Huh. I guess we just take it? I mean, we go to 10. Yeah, this turn did not at all go like I thought. I assumed they had some other... either shelter or seam rip that would come after either our seam rip or a frigate, but they didn't. So now I don't know what to make of this scenario. I am thoroughly confused. Yeah. I guess we attack. Make a token. And frigate's got to get to 12. Huh. All right. I mean, I am trying to be aware of any scenario where they could have their own practice offense as well. It's at 6. All right, that's probably fine. What does it turn into? A 4/4? 3/5. Yeah, Usher the Fallen got played a bit. I think it's just the environments are so different. You know, I think that's another problem. When a set comes out, people are quick to go like, oh, this is the new X. But the reality is the environment where X used to exist compared to now is very different. You know, so making that comparison really doesn't work a lot of the time. And it leads people down to some bad deck building because they try to build as though that other card still has that same value. Right, a good example is the even just when reprints happen, like the 2 mana 2/1 that when you play a land returns from the graveyard, right? Like that's one that everybody thought was going to be in so many decks and the card was so good, but it's like, yeah, but it was good in a different environment, you know? Arachne, you do not have reach, which is disappointing. But you would be a 3/3, make us closer to turning on the frigate. So I like that. Happy birthday. Thank you. I could play this for 1. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to set up a win next turn, potentially. We're at 9. I don't think we lose to any weird scenarios here. So let's attack with these 2. See how the opponent feels about it. I mean, we know they have the 1 pump spell in hand. Sure. So I'm assuming this is where we use it. I mean, they might have more than 1, actually, which might be why they're willing to use 1 here. But if so, fine. We're okay with that. All right. Return this knucklehead. Well, we're definitely going to call enchantment. Like, that's a given. But they did have another one, Sarg Mage Rescue, so we know it's there now. So that part of the puzzle is no longer a mystery. And let's see, you have a seam rip. So, I mean, you might actually go after this, right? But if you use your seam rip on that, like, so be it. You're not attacking with anything else. Spellbook Vendor, put 1 on something. All right. You got it. What is this attack about? The hell? You can make it into a 2/2, even if you had 2 of them. Well, you can only play 1 of them because of Arachne, right? Like, what does this mean? All right, I'm blocking. I'm your Huckleberry. One of the weird cards where if a creature took damage this turn or something. I don't know. Like, I'm confused. We'll take our 3 life, and if our frigate dies, it dies, I guess. Yeah, that was a weird turn all the way around. Like, they could have got rid of the frigate or whatever and then just chose not to. Like, I don't know. Yeah, now we're getting rid of it? Sure. Like, we got our money's worth out of it. Okay. All right, another frigate. Interesting. Opponent's at 13. Man, if we waste our time, I think we just go for it. Just so you got to do something. Let's double strike. I mean, you're only at 13. We can't all-out attack either, though, because then if they happen to draw their own practice offense, that would suck. So we can only get in really with 1 creature. Because we have to attack with 1 or 3 or none, basically. Because 2, the other one just gets blocked by the 5/4 and doesn't do anything. Oh, opponent's going to go to 5? Okay. Sure. There's no point to playing the offense prior to this turn, because we would have just traded with the spider, and that's not exciting. And we could just make our creatures larger over 2 turns. I mean, we can see they have a Sarge Mage's Rescue, so that's fine. We're not overly concerned. They bottomed both. Sure. There's no way we lose here, right? Being at 12? Like, we can just double block the vendor. And then what are you going to do? Yeah, all right. I mean, you're already staring at the practice offense. We probably could have just let them both through, but, you know, in case there's a random card I'm not thinking of or something. Or they draw like in a road or something or whatever. You don't want to get too crazy. All right, well, that's kind of nice. Let's show you the other one. And then we'll show you the other one. Probably should have done it on the 3/3 just in case, but with only 2 mana up, I don't think it matters. They'd have to both be a road or something crazy. Yeah. All right. But yeah, it kind of played the way you expected, though. I don't have anything wrong with this deck at all. I think it's a good deck. Mono white aggro does mono white aggro things. So yeah, thumbs up, GG's. All right, man. Thanks for everybody who hung out. Like, we decided to do a late night stream and people started showing up. So thank you for coming by. We got 20 to 25 of y'all most of the night on Twitch. A bunch of y'all on YouTube hanging out. There's been about 50 to 60 on YouTube the whole night. Even a couple on Facebook. So thank you for swinging by today. I guess we can go ahead and crack this booster since we're here. That we got for playing our magical cards. Sweet. Yeah, we're about to wrap this up. Assuming nobody else is hopping in the queue, I think we're good. No other decks to feature. We did get to see a lot of decks, though, right? What did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there was a couple of others. 9, 10. So we saw about 11 decks tonight. That's pretty good. We got to go through a lot of different decks. But again, I hope this type of stuff helps people out. I hope it shows you kind of different ideas that are available, different cards that are still playable, different ideas that are out there. You know, because the toughest thing, and we say it a lot, I think the toughest thing about deck building is figuring out where to keep your focus, right? That's always very, very tough. And I think we said that about all but maybe 3 or 4 of the decks we saw tonight was just got to trim down, got to get it focused, right? Take out these extraneous cards. Right? That's where your difference of winning another 3%, 4%, or whatever. Like, that's where it comes from, where you can get consistently the draws that you need, get the cards that you need more often. And part of it is, too, being paranoid where you want to... I think I made a video on this, actually, you know, where I said sometimes you're trying to do too much with your deck. And there's a point where you have to say, all right, if our opponent just has this, then we're just going to lose to that, right? And I've even said that at the end of some of the videos, like, hey, just know you're going to be weak to this type of deck, but you're going to do well against the other ones. And that's just a gamble you're taking if you play it, right? Trying to squeeze in every single card is just not going to do you any good. Any recommendations for deck? Not really. I mean, it's the mono white aggro deck. You're all the usual suspects, right? The cards you saw our opponents playing, right? It's going to be a lot of the same stuff. There's really nothing new to recommend for the mono white aggro. We've kind of seen, we all know the good creatures to play that are efficient. I guess if you want to play the white 2/1, the glimmer that lets you draw cards when a creature enters, like, that's a thing you could do, I guess, if you're worried about cards. But otherwise, yeah, it's mostly what you expect for the most part. You know, just play more practice offense, I guess. That card's really, really good. But yeah, if you hadn't seen it, if you go to my YouTube channel and look at our playlist, we have a MTG strategy playlist with a bunch of different videos. And we did some about a year ago, I think now, maybe 9 months to a year. It's been a while, where we broke down flaws people have when deck building, the biggest problems you run into. And then we did one on how much mana you should be playing in different types of decks. We also did one where we broke down what the makeup of an aggro, control, and mid-rangey deck generally look like. If you're trying to, like, how many spells, how many lands, how many threats or creatures, you know, and they're all pretty short, so they're pretty digestible, but those are really good and really helpful, and I'm glad we did those because a lot of people have gotten some real help from them. We've seen some positive comments. So yeah, people are like, you should do more in the series. There's not a lot more to do because there's a problem with deck building where once you start getting too far into different concepts, you start talking about information that almost doesn't matter because the next deck you build is going to be the exception to the rule, right? Like generally, we can say a mid-rangey deck should have this many things, and then you'll see a synthesizer deck that doesn't fit those rules at all. You know what I mean? So it's easy to say like this is what this deck should look like. You know, like, or we could say like an aggro deck looks like this, but then you see the mono white auras deck and it's not playing the same number of creatures and playing way higher number of spells, right? So it's really, really, really tough when you get into that level of stuff. You know, it's very, very, very difficult. And I think that's where not just Magic, but card games as a whole get difficult for people because I think people want a heuristic they can lean on of like, okay, I'm building this type of deck. I need these cards and I need this thing. And that's why I even when I made those videos, I think I even explained it of like, hey, here's generalizations of numbers. If you're lost and you don't know what to do, if you're within that space, you're going to at least be somewhat okay, right? Now, obviously, depending on what card you're building around or whatever, those numbers need to shift or whatever, but you at least won't be far from the mark if you're doing that. I think that's a good deal. Is Marvel a support set? What do you mean by that? It depends. What is your definition of a support set? I can't really answer yes or no because I don't know how you're classifying that. Fun fact, the 1996 World Champions winner used a mono white deck. Was it 96? I guess so. I thought it was 97 or 98, but yeah, because that was one of the ones they showed on ESPN, actually, where he was playing the white enchantment where your creature is bigger for the number of cards in hand, I remember right, and had shadow creatures in that deck. Yeah, so it would have been 96, 97, yeah. That makes sense. Because the shadow creatures from Tempest was around that time. But all right, y'all. I think we're gonna let it ride. How long have we been streaming? I feel like we went way longer than we wanted to. Yeah, we're coming up on getting close to 4 hours. We've been going. But yeah, this was fun. I will probably feature a couple of these deck lists. I think, or at least some version of them. I think the Blink deck is one we'll probably do. The Zoetic Stones deck I thought was kind of fun. We'll probably do something in that space. And then, like I said, we may figure out something to do with Siegebreaker since I don't know, it's been probably about a year since I made a Siegebreaker deck on the channel. So there's at least some stuff to work on. I have like 3 other decks. So I have like an Angel deck, a Delirium deck, a Fantastic Four graveyardy deck, a few different things that we want to work on anyway between now and then. So yeah, we have stuff for at least a whole other week already kind of plotted out. And there's 2 or 3 videos already loaded to go up over the next couple of days. So lots of content still coming y'all's way. But again, I want to say thank you to everybody who donated subs or memberships to people. That was super awesome. I know some of you did it as a birthday thing or whatever. I appreciate it. A couple of big super chats as well. So thank y'all for those of you that got in there, and for Kami, the late one, to get the last deck list in there, because every little bit helps. In all seriousness, trying to do some more stuff with editing, trying to do some more longer footage and storytelling stuff from different things. Like I've been saying, we're working on stuff for another channel, some cool stuff there where it's going to be more of a retrospective / storytelling bit of Magic and gaming on that channel, talking about like how we got our game store for $0 down, right? And telling that whole story, how that happened. You know, maybe behind the scenes stuff when I was working at Wizards, or, you know, putting on our first game convention, you know, things, just like cool stuff that people ask about that don't really make sense to be on the main channel. That's going to be up over there. And that all is going to have a time and a cost that's got to go into it so we can get that off the ground. And if y'all want to beat up Dev, we can still get the wrestling channel going at some point if Dev wants to do it. So like, really, Dev just has to make the time. Like, I could come up with a schedule to make that happen, but man, there's been so much stuff in wrestling that'd be worth talking about if we had that channel. So, but yeah, also Dev says, at least right now, he's going to try to be in Atlanta. So if you're going to be at MagicCon Atlanta in November, like, there's a chance you will actually get to meet Dev. He doesn't do too many events, but he's trying to get to that one. So that'd be fun. But otherwise, yeah, I think we're gonna call it a night, y'all. I appreciate you, everybody. It was a good time. Hopefully, we could do it again. My goal is to, as we move forward, try to get to where we're streaming probably at least twice a week in a perfect world. I would want to do like a morning stream at one point during the week or afternoon stream and then one in the evening, just because we do have viewers from all over and I'd like to give everybody a chance to kind of participate. But who knows? Maybe if they go well, we start doing 3 a week or something. I don't know. We'll see. But wherever you're watching or listening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Please remember to take care of yourselves and your family. Remember to be awesome. And most importantly, everybody, be awesome to each other. We'll catch you in the next one.